My middle name is Derek. You'll never find me now.
My middle name is Jamal.
I know a guy whose middle name is Jamal. He has a nice crossover, but he can't cook.
Those are two very different skills.
I know, and yet they shouldn't be to me. like I want to respect you because you got this crossover, but on the other hand, you can't cook. So how much should I like you? Because I don't.
It is Thursday, March the 4th. This is GameEnthus Podcast, episode 431. We've done a lot of these.
Yes, I mean, the facts have been stated.
Facts have been stated. I'm looking at Rashanii. He's like,
I just hi. It's me again. I'm sure the last time that y'all saw me, I had more hair. I'm just thinking about how long we've been doing this stuff. Yeah. Like us, like God. Look, listeners, hi again, Derek, Rashanii, whatever. Look, so check it out. A long time ago, in a place far, far away.
Maybe a galaxy, maybe not.
GameEnthus was a subsidiary. They merged with another group called Enthuse Life, and then they merged. Then they merged with this group called Geeks Gone Raw, and it was like this whole conglomerate of geekery. Yeah. That was in like 2010.
It's been that long, hasn't it?
It's been that long.
Wow. I mean, that means
your
we're
podcast
getting
is almost older than my son.
I'll say I recently, going through Twitter, like about a year or something like that ago, maybe less, was like, who hasn't tweeted in a long time? Then I found this this Twitter account, Enthuse Shop, hasn't tweeted in 10 years. I don't need to follow that anymore.
Probably not.
And ever since,
hey James,
Twitter's been like, "Hey, you sure? I think you should be following this Enthuse Shop account. Look at all these other people who follow it."
I got you beat. I got you beat. A guy who I know named Rod Smack from the 10K.com group.
10K.
The 10K.com group was a 10K. It was called the 10K group because back then, to get a 10K gamers tag or gamer score in the Xbox 360. This is back when the game points or whatever they were called back then. When people actually cared about getting those points.
I cared about them. I'm not gonna lie. I know I did.
Remember, I'm just gonna bring this up real quick. If you remember exploiting Avatar to get the game, the achievement points,
2 accounts,
you should probably take your medicines.
I mean, when people told me you could get 1,000 points, you literally loaded that game up and just hit A until it just was like they all just came to you. It was like, all right, cool.
I got that off Gamefly.
Yep, same
I'm
here.
dating myself even more. I got it off Gamefly, and I had to wait for it to show up. And I played it for literally 32 seconds.
Yep, put it right back in the envelope. Done.
Yeah. See, I heard about it, and I thought, and I was like, and then I was like, why would I do this? This was long before I'd ever watched Avatar, so I didn't even know what it was.
Me either.
I hadn't watched it. I didn't know how great it was then either. I was.
But years later, it made me wonder, should I now play it just because I might be interested in the game, but then I have to taint myself with those cheap 1,000 points. So I don't know.
I don't know about it felt fine to me. I didn't care.
Now I don't. I mean, I couldn't even tell you what my gamer score is.
Mine is like I'm like 95 or 96,000. I looked at it the other day and went, wow, I should try to crack 100 since I'm so close. So
all I remember is that I haven't. Mine has not increased a whole lot since the 360 days. Even though I still play more Xbox than I do PlayStation.
But you kind of play the same game, so you earn.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest reason why.
Nothing wrong with that. You're getting the value out of what you bought already, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and letting the value of those other games that I bought and didn't play fade away.
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm Aaron. I'm here. Mike is here.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. You're talking. So. Derek, Rashanii. I'm probably gonna call you Rashanii. I'm just calling you Rashanii. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
so,
you know, there's this. Hi, I'm still Derek. There's this rap group called Little Brother, and they put out a song, and one of the rappers on it says, his name is Rapper Big Pooh, and so he says in the lyrics, that when somebody called him his real name, he's been Rapper Big Pooh for so long that it didn't feel the same. Like it felt more intimate when somebody called him by his real name. Hi, I'm Derek. Like I don't do. That's why I keep saying it because I'm not used to it.
I'm not used to it either. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on the last Little Brother album they put out? What was that last year before?
Oh my God, I thought that album was so wonderful.
It was good. I did miss Ninth though. I missed Ninth's production. I'm not gonna lie, but it was still a good album.
I think what Get Back or was it Left Back?
I'm not sure.
I got used to not having Ninth around that often. And I mean, I love Ninth's production, but I love Fonte even more. And Rapper Big Pooh has definitely matured. Like this, Good Morning Sunshine, he did a phenomenal job all the way through that CD. Like the maturation of his craft. I feel bad for saying back in 2009 that he was the worst part of Little Brother. I was much worse of a person back then. I also had some mean things to say about Joe Scudder, and Joe Scudder responded to me, and I was stunned into silence.
That's kind of how that works.
Back then, people actually talked back to you when you spoke to them. There was no check marks back then, people. That were none. But yeah, I'm Rashanii.
And Derek at the same time.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? I know you have like a billion shows. You have a lot of podcasts. You have a business that's growing. You have a lot of stuff going on. Bring us up to speed.
Dude, so I actually need to change my name. I am Rashanii. Hi, I'm Derek. But I'm also a super creative. And I came to that conclusion after I realized that I now have 7 podcasts. Right?
That's a lot. That's a lot of podcasts.
That's a lot of podcasts. Some of them don't come out as often as they should. The Dream Team, Jay started his show with V, who he's also awesome. Shout out to Frowntown. The Dream Team single simulcast, which is the flagship, and Shantae and I now are at the point where we get together like once a month, maybe twice a month, and talk about whatever's on our minds, and it's always dope. But then you have like Unburdened, which is the mental health podcast. You have Hindsight, which is the show that I'm doing with Brandon, where we talk about movies that we saw when we were kids. So the movies are from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and we watch them again as adults, see if they still hold up. And like 2 weeks ago, we watched Problem Child, and I don't recommend that to anybody ever.
I didn't recommend it back then.
Oh, that's such a horrible movie. And that kid, like I would never say hit a kid. But me and Junior would square up. We would have had to be in the middle of the street like this, just ready to, one of us is going to go into a headlock because that kid was awful. So single simulcast, the Dream Team, Unburdened, Hindsight. Then I have a show called Return to Oswald, which is a review show of the iconic HBO series Oz.
What made you decide to, I guess, start watching Oz and then do a show about it? Because Oz started off so good, and then they got to the point where they would spend 45 minutes developing a character, and then have them sodomized and thrown down an elevator shaft. And it was like, well, what was the point of this?
More or less, yeah. But here's the two
Why?
things that happened. One, HBO Max. I was sitting there one day. Nothing else was on HBO Max. I had just gone through this really dark period where I watched Wonder Woman 1984. So I decided, I had already watched The Wire like 16 times. So let me go ahead and watch Odds and see how I like that.
Did you watch season 2 when you rewatched The Wire though?
Oh yes.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I didn't have a problem with season 2. It brought a lot of interesting things to the whole thing. And that was another thing that helped out with Return to Oswald is the All the Pieces Matter podcast that Jamel Hill did with Van Lathan, where they talked about The Wire. I was like, nobody's showing this kind of love to Oz. So Brandon, my co-host, who also has a show called the Why So Serious podcast, he's never seen Oz before in his life. So I'm living vicariously through his horror.
Wow. That's interesting just to see like, oh, you were surprised by the killing. Okay.
And then Scar has seen all of Oz, but it's Scar. So, getting a chance to talk with the homie is always a gift and a treat. So Brandon, Scar, and I get together every Tuesday and we talk about episodes of Oz. We just got through an episode called Strange Bedfellows, where this inmate named Adebisi has his way with another inmate named Peter Shabetta. Because, Adebisi is a madman. And
his
Shabetta
hat
thought
will
he could beat
never
him
fall
up.
off his head. It just stays there.
I just want to put this out there for the record. I was the first person on Twitter to make my Twitter name Adebisi's hat. Because I never fell off. I was also the first person on Twitter to make my Twitter name Inegro Montoya. I just want to put that out there. That's what happened when you start in 2010, when it first starts. Indifferent and I have this opportunity to make our names whatever they want it to be without having to put numbers behind that. If you can say that as well, it's time for your medication. And then I have a show called Ratchet Book Club, which I just started and I really do enjoy, where I read a chapter or two of a book every day. And then I discuss the chapters in between the two chapters. So the first book I read, Ratchet Book Club, we read hood classics and good classics and all things in between. The first book I read was a book called Old Thought Next Door by Quan Mills. And that's THOT, Old Thought.
When did that book come out? Because it can't be that old. Like, the last, 3-4 years?
It had to have.
Yeah.
Yes. And he already had the second one out. And so I read that book and discussed it and had a great time. And now I am reading The Coldest Winter Ever, which I've read many, many times before.
Funny? You just plucked that out of my brain. My wife is a huge fan of that book. And I just saw that Sister Soldier, the sequel's coming out.
The sequel is out. It came out on Tuesday.
I forwarded her the email. I got to remind her because she. It
came out on Tuesday. I haven't bought it yet because I'm reading the old one on the podcast. But, most of the folks that I know who read that book, and I'm sure if you ask your wife, she'll say the same thing. When she read it the first time, she was probably, a teenager. It came out in 1999.
Well, she was, yeah. We were all younger, yeah.
So when you read it as a teenager and then you read it again as an adult, Winter hits different when you're an adult. Like, she's a really immature kid. And when you're a kid with her, you're like, yeah, she's right. But when you're like 41, you're like, dude.
No.
Exactly. So that's what I'm going through right now is abject horror about the stuff she's going through. So let's see. Hindsight, Unburdened, single simulcast, The Dream Team, Return to Oswald, Ratchet Book Club. I have one more. I'm going to remember it at some point today. Oh, Storytellers.
Okay.
Storytellers.
So you have 8, pretty much.
I have more than that. I'm just being modest about it. But yeah, and then I have my my cooking company, Consistently Good, where we try and get good food to folks who wouldn't have gotten good food otherwise. And that's not to say like because they're poor or anything like that. It's just to say that where I grew up at, having steak was a luxury. Like just the idea of eating steak was like out of the picture. We ate tuna casserole and cheeseburger, macaroni, hamburger helper, to eat braised beef short ribs in the arrabbiata sauce was what? What is that? Like, can you explain what this is to me? Can I just have a hamburger? McDonald's was the big thing for us, like getting to go to McDonald's, having McDonald's money. I want to change that. So I cook for the folks who would have never gotten to know what a white wine sauce was like, you know, or the people who don't get a chance to eat like they want to eat because they can't even fathom that kind of life. And I don't mean to sound sedity when I say it. It's just, it's how I grew up. Like, where I grew up, you only ate your steak well done. There was no other options.
That's all I knew. There wasn't,
So
the rare times we had it.
Right? Like,
no
to find out that there's a way to cook your steak where it doesn't taste like a glove.
I mean, the texture, again, I don't know the taste of a, anyway.
Like, so why didn't anybody tell me that steak could be like this? Like, it's like, I want everybody's first time eating our food to be like Arsenio Hall when he found out the cheese was that good. I want people getting slapped over the cheese that we have. So, and we're good at it. You know, I enjoy it and it's fun. I don't do stuff if it's not fun. I went through times where I did stuff because I thought that it was what I was supposed to do and it sucked. So now I'm in my 40s. I don't do that anymore. I don't talk to people I don't need to talk to, and I don't hang out in crowds that don't need me or don't want me to hang out with them. And I'm way better for it.
Yeah, it just takes us a while to get there to understand that. That's how it works. When did you start consistently good?
June of last year. So what happened is that COVID. With COVID, there was no longer AAU because I coached AAU basketball and rec league sports and all that kind of stuff. With COVID, AAU got shut down. Coupled with the fact that with COVID, my wife was able to step away from her state job and start working as a nurse. She's in nursing school. So I was able to see her step out on faith and go towards her dream. And she was like, you should go towards your dream as well. And my dream was honestly a 4-person arcade system. But that wasn't, you know, it's a megacade. I really wanted one. Like, I'm going to get one. But she was like, no, not that dream, stupid. I mean, the other dream. And I was like, oh, you mean cooking? Oh, okay. So I started consistently good. And the way that it actually happened was that my daughter and her girlfriend at the time, had moved into a place together and they were doing a housewarming, but neither of them could cook. So I was like, you know, I'm not going to let your first barbecue at your house be y'all serving Winco chicken and steakums. So I was like, I'll cook. I'll do it for free. I'll cook. And I made them some smoked chicken wings and some ribs and everything. And I took pictures of it and posted it up on Facebook. I wasn't even thinking about it. You know, there was nothing behind it. I was just like, look, my first 2 clients, ha ha ha, LOL. And somebody else was like, cool, can I order something from you? And I was like, wait, what? And that's when I realized that as a coach, I had been cooking so long for my kids, you know, end of season parties and stuff like that. I've been cooking for these kids so their parents got a chance to taste my food. And so when I said I'm cooking for real, they were like, cool, I've been waiting for this for 14 years, coach. Like, can I get some? So that's where I'm at now.
You kept winning games, they didn't want to bother you. They were like, they're not playing, so some of them ribs.
As soon as we lost, though, it would have been like, you should stick to cooking. Like, that's a very specific put down, sir. No, really, you should stick to cooking. Like,
well, you've been saving that. Like, what's the problem?
Your souffle doesn't rise right. Like, oh okay. Those are hurtful.
How would yours is better? Okay. I've never made souffle in my life. I mean, I do. It's funny. I would do most of the cooking at home during the school year, and my wife would normally take over more. But now, you know, because of COVID, it's fine. You know, I just do most of it. I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
So I like
it. I mean, I was telling Nisha, my beloved wife. That's her full name, by the way. My beloved wife, Nisha. I was telling her a couple days ago that when we were first dating, I had pledged to her that she would never have to cook again. And I was like, I didn't mean it as like I'd become a chef and actually be able to cook good stuff. I just meant it like you wouldn't have to make chicken. I would make the chicken. So it's weird the way that the roads take us and where life takes us to. And it's a fun path to travel if you don't look back. Just don't look back. Unless you're seeing how far you've come, don't look back. There's nothing behind you.
You don't want to know unless it's been progress.
Yeah, because if you look back and all you see is like bodies, or you see that you haven't come as far as you think you did, but don't look back. Just keep going forward. And then when you die, we'll look back for you.
His smoked wings were good, and he could coach that team. He was a good.
And the souffle rose.
You're right, James. Life it's a great journey. It is, and it's funny that just this year that we've all experienced in our own ways, in similar ways together, all across the world is, it's not an accident. It's you should learn something coming out of this. Not what that.
I told somebody, and it was the most Republican thing I've ever said. But if you don't come out of this catastrophe knowing something new, I don't really know what to tell you. I don't. If you don't come out of this with some new knowledge of something, like I know people who have started cooking. I know people who have gotten into the stock market. I know people who have gone back to school. I know people who have started writing. I know people who have done all these things, started their own companies. So I can honestly say that if you're still like, I don't have opportunities, but you're not making the opportunity for yourself, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to give you anymore. I don't have words for that, because I've started like so many new ventures because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Like you start ventures out of that. You know how businesses get started, ladies and gentlemen? Here's a secret. Come closer. Here's how businesses get started more often than not. Boredom. You take a hobby and you're actually good at it. That's really it. Luck and happenstance happens too, but more often than not, you take a hobby and somebody's like, hey, can I buy that? My homeboy, he draws. He drew for years just because he liked doing it. And then one day he was sitting at a basketball practice drawing on his iPad, and somebody looked over his shoulder and was like, that's really nice. I'd like to buy it from you for $400.
That's a great place to start.
Right? Yeah. Right? I think I can actually make a business out of this. And he took off. Same thing.
Yeah. Right about that. That is all right. So anything else that you want to just update us on that we... I've 8 podcasts and a catering business. You've been pretty busy. I
also do hair. Let me see.
I do my own.
Nope. Yeah, me too. This is shaven, not cut. I'm happy to say kids are doing well. Wife is doing well. Health is good. Life is good. I can't complain. I'm in the sunlight right now. I'm dancing in the sunshine, and it won't always be there, but while it's there,
dance.
I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, dance all you can.
Mm-hmm.
As 2020 has definitely shown us. Take nothing for granted, because it can all be taken away.
I mean, just a thought. Yeah, cool. We had a president who got impeached twice. That's something. But they also took his star off the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like, that is just
what's that
going
above
and beyond.
I know people were vandalizing it. Did they just...
They were.
Did they just decide, like, rather than keep repairing it, we're just
going to take it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just going to lift it off the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like, okay. That is progress.
I mean, that's one less bill for him. He could probably use that. One less.
Yeah. I
You have to pay for
less
those
residuals after being digitally removed from Home Alone 2.
Alone 2.
Macaulay Culkin. He really advocated for that. I was so proud of him.
Yeah. It made sense. Made sense. All right. Mike, what's going on with you?
Well, I guess as far as things that I'll mention, and I don't know if I mentioned it on the show before or not. This is like a lengthy journey, but somewhat recently, I've realized that there's the plumbing pipes in the house are banging around a little bit. Trying to figure it out, and some numerous conversations, including with the local plumber I've used, led me to kind of realize I think it's just the dishwasher. When the dishwasher runs and the water turns on and off, that's when the pipes are. So I started by searching all that, how to fix blah da 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 da, and it one of the things I came across indicated that if there is not enough flow, if the dishwasher is trying to get more water than it's actually receiving, then that could be causing it. And I said, okay, all right. Started thinking about it, and the dishwasher we had to have installed this past summer because the old one died. Remembering that the installer from the appliance store, when he put it in, said to me, hey, the valve for your hot water to the dishwasher is kind of, it's stuck. But luckily, it's stuck open, so we're good. I got you hooked back up, and everything works. And that's when I started thinking, I'll bet it's stuck half open. So after something that took way longer than it should have, mostly because the access under the sink was very limited, I got a new valve on there. And sure enough, the old one was only half open. So that guess was correct. Now with a fully open valve, the pipes bang louder than ever. So that did not solve the problem. So Googled some more, trying to figure this out still. Came across another solution to be called a water hammer arrestor. Never heard of this thing before, but it's a little device that's got a little air chamber in it that gets reloaded every time there's pressure on it. So there's always a cushion so that when the water kicks back, this thing absorbs the pressure instead of sending it to the pipe. So great. This sounds like a winner. Can't buy one locally. So I ordered one, had it delivered in a couple of days, put that on. Absolutely no difference. So now I'm at a question mark and a fork in the road as to what I do about it now. But I found that if I just turn the valve off a little bit, just like the old one was, the pipes seem to bang less, which they did before, which is where this whole started. And if I had done absolutely nothing, I would have been in the same boat. But I mean, the whole point, it's not an irritation of oh, it's loud. That's irritating. It's when they're slamming into the walls or whatever these pipes are doing, they're potentially loosening joints and accelerating failure. And then someday I'm going to have an explosion in the wall.
Yeah, you want to mitigate an issue. Yeah, that's for sure. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if anybody out there has any recommendations as to what to do about all this, because I don't even know what else to try. But I think tonight I'm realizing the washing machine, the clothes washing machine, may also be doing this. I just never realized it because when it's banging around itself, it's kind of hiding the sound of the pipes. But now that I've kind of my ears tuned to it, but it makes sense. As far as the explanation of how all this works, because the washing machine and the dishwasher are electronically controlled valves where they're like a light switch. It pops on and pops off, and it's a hard thing rather than turning a faucet off, which is slowly opening or closing a valve. So, but outside of that, I don't know what I'm doing. And even the plumber is just like, look, I can come out, but if it's the appliance is the problem, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm like, all right, well then, I mean, I don't know.
Are they going to charge you for coming out too?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. So that's one little journey that I've had about a 2-week situation trying to get that taken care of. One that's been going on even longer, which I don't think I mentioned yet. My old car, which I still have and had been driving every day until more or less when I got injured, when I was like, driving a manual is probably not the greatest idea. Found out that one of the coil springs was broken. And that's not great. They're not supposed to break, like, ever. So the journey to try to get this taken care of is like, well, the auto mechanic only wants to do quick struts, which are not like the greatest quality. So I don't know. I mean, the details are actually not all that interesting, but I thought I was like, all right, I'm going to buy the good parts. If I'm going to do this, at least I'm going to get a good quality ride out of it in the end, buying KYB struts and all the stuff. And I figured I'll put this together. I own a good quality spring compressor to make this happen. I can't get it to work because the coils are too close to each other. And once it's compressed, I can't get the arms from the compressor back off of it. So now I'm back to, I need help putting it together. And at that point, I don't know. So and every time I realize, I need one more thing. But it's not local. I got to order it. I got to wait another week for that little thing to show up. So it's been fun. So there's two little things. The other thing I wrote down here, I'll wait until Tiny's on, because he's the only other person on the show that would care about this, I think. So
Did you try YouTube?
Oh my God. I have spent so much time watching YouTube stuff. It is oh my God. Yeah, I like YouTube though for stuff like that.
It's very helpful. I had an issue with
extremely helpful
with the faucet cartridges. I'm sitting. that's the other thing is I'm turning this is our upstairs bathroom, our bedroom, our master bathroom bedroom. Anyway. So I'm messing around with that, and I changed the cartridges, and then the water seemed to be like, the water pressure was like half of what it should be. Then it was fine, but then it was messing up again, and to kind of find out it was just a little what do you call the little this little filter in the faucet itself?
The aerator?
The faucet filter?
Yeah, the aerator. Like there was just some sediment.
Yeah, the aerator. Yeah, sure. That's second guess. That was my second guess.
Tip of the tongue.
So it had like debris in there?
Yeah, it did. But the funny part is, I had cleaned it out the first time.
Wow.
So I took it off again and then popped off. I separated every single part in it.
Yeah.
Got some tweezers in there and took out everything.
So did it seem like rust particles?
No. Well,
okay.
I don't know, because I felt like the stuff in it, maybe I should be more concerned about that. But
there's always going to be some level of, minerals and little things.
Yeah, there was buildup, but I thought I guess I removed one part from it and cleaned it out. That I didn't pop off. Like I basically didn't push the other part through and separate all of it. So when I cleaned it all out, because it's making this squeaking sound, I was like, it was fine. I was making a squeaking sound. Took it all apart. And it's good to go. Yeah.
You tried hitting with a hammer first, though. Right?
Well, that's the largest hammer I own. Without
okay. Heavy hitter
at full strength. Just to make sure it's effective.
Like you're at the county fair and you're trying to make that bell ring.
Exactly. Yeah, I have like a weird thing about plumbing stuff because there was an incident that happened some years ago where the main water coming into the house, I was doing some stuff I shouldn't have been doing, and then a lot of water came into the house. So for a long time, I was very, very nervous about doing anything plumbing related. I would always just call somebody, hey, just come look at it. But then that's expensive, and you got to get back out there. So yeah, so that's a little thing. Like I guess when they came to install the dishwasher a couple of years ago, the water coming out to go back into the main drain, they were like, yeah, it's all hooked up, but this thing isn't working, so you got to fix that. So of course, I had to spend a week messing around with that, and plumber's putty is terrible. It doesn't really work. So I ended up I'm going with silicone because plumber's putty was just not. I could not get a good tight seal. Stuff
On
was
wait
all
on
over the place.
Wait, I'm sorry. Where? What part are you putting the plumber's putty on?
Oh, it was so like underneath like the drain.
Yeah,
well, not underneath it, but like underneath that part.
so that the
So it creates
drain
a
in the
seal.
sink. Yeah.
But it would always leak. I would just turn it on the tester, and
I mean, you're supposed to put like a ton more than you need, and then you squeeze it out when you're tightening. Okay.
I did it like 15 times, and every time I did it, it was still. I'm like,
was it really old or something?
No, I went and bought new plumber's putty.
Wow, I don't know. That's crazy to me.
So, yeah, I'm sure this is a great gaming discussion, but it is what it is. So I went with silicone. It's been fine. Okay. I might have over silicone parts, but you can just cut through it with a knife. It's whatever.
Yeah, more is good, especially if it's not in the way.
Exactly. So silicone did the trick. Never looked back.
I mean, silicone has a shelf life. I mean, it's like it's not going to last forever. So, but then again, I don't know with the kind of seal you're talking about. I don't know because is that like? Did you see somewhere as a suggestion that's like a viable alternative for water?
What?
Like because it's what you're using like a kitchen bathroom based silicone, not like an exterior, not like a window silicone or something like that.
I think it was 4 bathrooms. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it'll be fine. I don't know. This is new to me. I'm like, I didn't think
that
there was
doesn't
a
sound
thing.
very promising because.
Well, look, I'm not an expert. I just told you I don't know what I'm doing, but I thought like every time I've ever seen directions for like you put your sink in, and you put the stopper thing down and the drain, whatever. It's just like you put the plumber's putty in, and that's it.
Plumber's putty around it, and you
that's right.
I did that. And
this isn't like option 1 of 7. This is how it's done. You know,
this is the only guidance at all. Use plumber's putty. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It just yeah.
And speaking of cartridges, as a total aside, also our like 2-year-old shower faucet, like 3 out of 4 days leaks, and then the 4th day it's dry as a bone. It's getting shut off the same way every time. I don't know. I'm like,
water's just.
I don't get it. Some days it drips every 10 seconds. Some days one every 10 minutes, and then some days not a drop. So I don't know. Some other dumb thing to. There's always something.
Oh, always. Yeah.
The heated mattress pad died already. It's only since Christmas.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I don't know. It's just like, come on, man. I call the company, and it's like during hours that they're open, and I waited in line. They're like, there are 4 people ahead of you. And when I got to the front of the line, I got a voicemail, and it said, we'll call you back. And that was 4 days ago. They've not called me back.
Anytime. I don't know. Rashanii, is that the kind of tin that has the 3 different types of popcorn in it?
No, but I do want to point out that while they're talking, y'all, I am eating popcorn like Michael Jackson in the Thriller video.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Having a great time.
It's like if you want me to try to figure out other things that I'm having problems with, they're out there.
It's only got 2 kinds of popcorn in it. It's got cheddar, and then it's got salted caramel because I'm bougie.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a good mix.
I just want to know if it was more than one. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this place near my house called the Popcorn Store, where you can they have like habanero popcorn and
I like that.
cheddar popcorn and Cinnabon popcorn, and one popcorn called Double Drizzle, which is caramel and chocolate. That was really good. But
a cheesecake, a strawberry cheesecake popcorn?
Probably.
No, strawberry shortcake. That's what it was. That's why that was so good.
It's probably seasonal, but yes. So I'm sitting here eating a Chicago mix, which is the caramel and cheddar cheese, while listening to y'all. And I was going to tell you, Mike, leave a bad Yelp review for them. They'll call you back immediately. Tell them exactly, write down everything that happened step by step, because I had a air conditioning company. They came out and they installed an AC unit on my home. And then in the summer, they installed it. So in like June, and then in July there was a heat wave and the air conditioner went out. And this was when Nisha was pregnant with our son. And so they had an after hours number, and they were also to have a technician on call because they're supposed to be a 24-hour company. Sure. There would have been a premium for them to come out, later on the evening, but still, they're supposed to be a 24-hour company.
Sure.
I called them about 8 times and kept getting a voicemail. And then when I called the next morning, I got the guy, he answered at like 7 o'clock in the morning, was like, we don't open until 10, and hung up on me. I put it all on Yelp, like the whole thing, step by step. And you know how I write, Aaron. I wrote just like that, like a full missive about what they did to us. And the manager called me and was like, I will give you $500 to take that review down off Yelp.
Wow.
How about fix your
problem for free?
Hey, works for me.
So he gave me the check and he watched me delete it off Yelp, and they fixed our problem. So go to Yelp and get paid. That should be an ad. Something
really like that. I mean,
get paid.
that's definitely the kind of business that would care about their reputation. It's like, especially if it's local, they've got a limited area to work with or whatever. I kind of get the feeling that this company doesn't care, because they're like the actual manufacturers of the product, but it's marketed under a larger brand name, and the larger brand name is just like, as soon as you go to their website, you're like, whoa, we don't make this other company does. Call them, they're the ones, they'll take care of whatever. We do nothing but make it look like we're the manufacturer and take your money. That's it. And as far as other complaints, I don't want to name names, but there is a company that has thus far kind of screwed me over on a purchase, and have ignored their dedicated support page, their email that I was supposed to send. I DM'd them on Twitter. Did
you shout them out on Twitter?
I did in a reply that got ignored as well. So I'm running out of options before I just put them on notice. But it's one of these places where it's like, that's why I don't want to use their name yet, because it's like, I've heard lots of good things. I haven't experienced them yet, though.
It's Chuck E. Cheese, isn't it?
That's right. I ordered one of those sugar-infested pizzas, and they still haven't delivered it yet. And I'm still standing here at the Mortal Kombat machine.
Oh boy,
I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that's just the salute. Why did I keep talking? Aaron, what do you want to talk about? Help me here.
I'll be real brief. What was it? Friday night? We watched
Thursday night.
Friday night. We watched.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. We watched the Dora the Explorer movie. I heard it was funny.
That's a good movie.
Dora Explorer movie?
Yeah, live action.
But that's a good movie.
It was fun.
Like, before you say anything, Mike, I don't even have kids who watch Dora the Explorer. I went to the movie theater and watched that, and then I bought it. That's a good movie.
It was funny, and I like when they do these movies where they take these characters that nobody really acts like that, but they keep the world the way it really is, and then that person's a fish out of water, because then it works.
She was definitely that. Like,
yeah. You got the even with her parents, they were like, she would look at the camera. And first,
she looking?
Who are you looking at?
And it helped that her dad was the dude from Ant-Man, Michael. Yeah.
He's funny.
Who's like super good at like the facial expressions and all that kind of stuff. So
Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Great movie. I recommend it wholeheartedly.
It is a fun movie. It is. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Hey, Tiny.
6.1 out of 10.
Yo, in this day and age where people will flame you up just for putting a woman in the lead of a movie.
Oh, that's true. You got to discount that kind of those sort of reviews. Yeah,
that is where we are. If you remember a time where reviews that were 6.1 meant that it was a bad movie, you should probably take your medication.
It's time.
Said review Wonder Woman. They made Wonder Woman a woman. 0 out of 10.
I mean, honestly, and you know what? It wasn't even Wonder Woman that was the downfall that first caused this whole ire. The thing that first caused the whole ire, Tiny, do you remember the first thing that caused so much internet ire?
On what?
on review pages where they review bomb somebody?
No, I'm gonna need a little help.
Mass Effect 3.
Oh,
That's a fair one.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Mass Effect 3 was the first time that all of those nerds and gamers came out. They were so mad about the ending that they flamed up the review sites, and the aggregate scores just plummeted. And it got to the point, remember, where people resigned from BioShock because they were getting hate mail and threats. That was the dawn of it all. Nobody checked them. And so they just kept getting stronger and stronger and worse and worse.
That was a big deal. I remember, like, when, not local news, but, you know, like the CNNs and when they were reporting on this stuff, it's like, y'all don't really care about this, but like, you're reporting on it. Because I guess the reaction was that visceral.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, well, that
seems late because that's 2012, 2013.
Yeah, I mean, there was probably Fox News outrage about the original Mass Effect. They're like, your children are having sex with blue people in this video game.
Are they though? Like,
that's exactly, like, minute by minute, that's what's happening.
But I mean, if you're gonna talk about that outrage, then you go back to like hot coffee. Even, I mean, you go before that.
Yeah, you know.
But you can go to hot coffee where it's like your kids could be having sex with people if they mod their PS2 and access this content, which
if
is
they
not
uncomment all this stuff out,
right?
And we know
it's not something a normal person would be doing.
But I mean that was like the Jack Thompson era of it all. This was the first time the gamers.
Name. He got disbarred, right?
He got disbarred. But this is the first time the gamers, not the news, but gamers were so mad they went to the review sites and made their presence felt.
That's true.
So, I mean, yeah, there were times where the news, where Fox News or whoever would get on there and spit their angry ire and be wrong. Mass Effect, a death shooting game where all you do is have sex with blue people.
And while you're murdering.
and that's fair because it has to be post the Amazon, we're going to let anyone leave a review. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Which used to be a discussion I had with one of my friends a lot. Like, he'd be like, oh, look at this. And I'm like, only the crazy people go and fill that out. Yeah. Like, only people that have an axe to grind go and leave user reviews most of the time.
If you're enjoying your new thermostat, you probably don't really have time to go write up 10 pages about how much you hate it.
Right, I got better things to do. So,
and one of the things I found out is just how hard it is to make a please customer leave a review. Like, if you're happy with your stuff, you kind of keep it a secret.
I mean, it's the vocal. It's the vocal minority. It's the very angry people
because the happy people have moved beyond the need to deal with whoever fixed the problem or gave them. It's just like, I am now enjoying this and my life continues. End of story.
Right. So I mean, like, if I might be wrong. It was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. But if I remember correctly, it went Mass Effect 3. And then from there, like almost maybe a year or two after, Gamergate happened. And that really mobilized everything. But it was Mass Effect 3 that was the first anger because we worked all this time and you made the ending this thing. And they railed about it so much that they literally had to do a DLC where they changed the new ending, where they changed the ending.
So are you saying
hindsight, was that the wrong thing to do?
It was because that just empowered the gamers. To give
people what they wanted was the wrong thing because it to tell people, hey, if we're loud enough.
But you weren't giving all of your clients. You were just giving the loud, brash.
Yes, the loudest people.
You were rewarding bad behavior.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, in hindsight, was that? I don't know.
I mean,
so what you're saying is they should have kept the horrific Sonic.
Sonic with human teeth is something that people need to see.
So here's my theory on that. And I talked with my homeboy Brandon about this for the Why So Serious show because it's a movie review show. My theory on Sonic the Hedgehog is that they never were going to have the human tooth Sonic. But it was a great marketing plan. It was
they
an
should
excellent
sell.
marketing
Yeah,
plan.
but that could backfire though, real
It
bad.
could, but what are you gonna lose? It's Sonic the Hedgehog. Like if you put out an ugly Sonic, all of these folks, like they've been watching the trends and seeing how angry people get over stuff.
Yeah.
They're gonna be infuriated. It's gonna hit the news. We're gonna get way more press than we would have before. And then in a mea culpa, we go back, we wait 6 months, we put out the product we were going to put out in the first place, and we make way more than we would have in the first place.
I never thought about it that way, but
I like the
Who's to
idea
say?
where they say
That-
if it doesn't work out, the worst case scenario is just flush it all down the toilet because it's Sonic and who cares?
Exactly.
I never thought about that.
Seriously, Sonic the Hedgehog is one of now the most successful video game movies that came out.
Because there
And-
haven't really been a slew of success stories.
No, we did a video game movie month for Hindsight, and
Mortal
I've seen some
Kombat.
stuff. Double Dragon.
no, I'm talking about the good ones. Mortal Kombat.
Oh, my bad.
Mortal Kombat.
I mean,
So-
there's probably some worthwhile like anime, video game to
Yeah.
anime
Does
conversion.
Wreck-It
But
Ralph
yeah, for
count?
live action Hollywood
No,
stuff.
Wreck-It Ralph doesn't count because
Okay.
it's not actually a video game. Like,
It became
That's-
one because of the movie wasn't one to
Right.
begin with.
I mean, they made a fake video game,
Right.
They did.
and all they did was
and it
rip
really
off-
wasn't very good.
Oh yeah, all they did was
No.
rip off like anyway. It doesn't Fix It Felix Jr. is not a
Fix
good
it,
game.
Felix.
But
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I
the whole-
played Fix It Felix was a horrible game. Like I have it. Somebody made this Raspberry Pi emulator machine for me, and so I bought it. And it has like all these systems on it, but it also has like modded versions of Sega games, Sega Genesis games. And somebody put Fix It Felix on there, and I got to play it, and it is asinine as hell.
Or you're just fixing windows, right?
like you're
Yep.
jumping
With a
between
hammer.
windows.
Because
Mhm.
that's how you fix a window.
I mean,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
given
Hammer.
he was given a magical hammer by his father.
Yes,
so
he was. Yes.
The
Yeah,
deep
he's
lore.
Thor. Mjolnir.
He's actually the god of hammers, not Thor.
I need to
So-
watch the second one again. I enjoyed it. I just don't remember it all. I remember the first one more. I've seen the first
Ralph
one more.
Breaks the Internet.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, I didn't-
You could if you want to,
No,
but
I've
it ain't
seen
no
it.
wacky D.
I just
I mean, I don't know. We watched it last year for an extra life thing. It's fun.
I enjoyed it.
There are
It's
fun
not the
points-
worst movie I've ever seen, but it's
I
not
mean-
even close to the first one.
It's not as
No.
good as
Yes, the first one is better, but like if that or like you have to watch Cars 2, I will.
Oh
watch.
yeah, I choose.
Ralph
You know
Breaks
what's
the
funny
Internet.
about the whole Cars 2 complaint is that, and it's legit, Cars 2 was not a good movie. The problem is the first Cars was boring.
Is
like-
it?
The
like, to
first
me-
Cars was Doc Hollywood,
To me,
step by step.
Exactly. The first Cars is like a movie about like respecting old people, which is a fine lesson to learn. But when you're like 5, what do you like? You want to see cars like get to the racing. So they found, so the first one did well, but they took the feedback and went, okay, let's make the second one more exciting. So they did, but everybody hates it.
Because they focused it on Mater,
Yeah,
and
that's
Mater
that's
is
part of it.
Yeah,
horrible. Like he was so the shine of Larry the Cable Guy was already on the decline at that point in time. In my opinion, I didn't even barely know who he was, but he was already annoying. And my kids weren't going to sit through that movie and hear him because I wasn't going to let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
that's true. The
I
third
mean,
one was
at the
pretty
point,
good,
the third one I liked. It was like the third one seemed like they were passing the torch.
Yeah.
The problem is in the first one, my son stopped and asked me why were there baby cars.
Time to answer that question.
Look the other way.
though. When a piston and a never mind. Yeah, that's a legit question. So, yeah. Let me just finish up here. Coming to America comes out tomorrow. I'm excited to see that this weekend. The movie that nobody asked for, but I will watch it.
What was it? Is that Amazon or Netflix?
That's
or
Amazon Prime.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon. Okay.
The problem is it has the same. It's the same name when you say it reads differently.
Yeah,
but it's the
I
same
saw that.
name.
I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, it's
We're gonna watch Coming to America, and then we're gonna watch the sequel, Coming to America.
Yeah.
I am pretty certain that tomorrow will be one of the greatest days for Black folks since Black Panther. Because
I don't know if I want to get my hopes up that high.
well, no, what I'm saying is not only is Coming to America coming out, which, yeah, probably not. Maybe. Who knows? I hope so. We'll find out. But also,
yes, we will.
Season finale of WandaVision.
Yes.
Both tomorrow. That's a big day for shows.
Tomorrow's
Yeah,
the last episode?
Yep.
It is. It was only 9 episodes, Mike.
Oh, I thought
I thought 8
I thought it was-
the
I
last
thought it was
episode.
10.
I was like, they're not going to end it like this, are they? I was like, oh, okay, there's another one. I was like, please don't end it like this.
They end it like that, and then they just go, and there's not another season.
Like, what?
And they were never heard from again.
They went back to their home planet.
I would love if they put that just in subtitles. There was not another season.
Why? Oh, man. And last thing I'll mention is I did another guest spot on Tim from Meepleville, his podcast yesterday. So that should be coming out pretty soon. Always good to hang out with Tim and talk board games with people from all over the country and sometimes all over the world. So it's definitely a good thing. So for me, Tony, how about you?
Well, so since we're talking about WandaVision, I will mention that in a strange tangent, Bon Appetit's kind of relaunched their YouTube channel. And they had a video.
Are they paying people who aren't white to work now, or?
I assume so. That seems to be what the mission statement is, and the new management that is there.
If you have to say that, we plan to actually pay people for the work they're doing, even if they're not white. That seems like a pretty awful mission statement.
We plan to pay everyone an appearance fee. Anyway,
We hired someone to write this in the worst possible way, and it is actually above our name when you go to our website.
So, but there's a video with Elizabeth with Elizabeth Olsen on there today, and she's talking about that she went straight from filming WandaVision, and now she's in the UK filming Doctor Strange. So,
something of the multiverse.
Yeah, madness across the multiverse.
Yeah, man.
We will.
I assumed she was going to die at the end.
What's that?
I just never mind. Go ahead.
You said you thought she was going to die at the end?
I was like, no, that's the whole thing. It's just like, if the spoiler is, oh my god, she lived to be in the next movie or whatever, it's like,
gasp.
Pretty sure they weren't going to just like throw her down an elevator shaft at the end of.
She fell on
like
some
an
bullets.
episode of Oz. Open that shaft up, throw it up.
Because there's a lot of elevators in Westview, New Jersey.
Remember they locked up Luke Perry? And Todd, you have a perfect segue into this because of what you're going to talk about in just 1 second. Remember they on Oz where they put Luke Perry into a wall? Remember that? Nobody remembers that? Okay, never mind.
I'm hearing Luke Perry and being like, yes, they locked Archie's dad into a wall.
No, Luke Perry was on Oz. He was like he played a minister.
He was a preacher, but because
I hope I didn't spoil it for you, but
no. So here's what happened, and we were talking about this on Return to Oswald. During the second half of the second season, all the way up until maybe the end of the show, I didn't watch it anymore because I went to college in '98. They didn't have HBO in college. I got out and moved into my own house. I didn't have HBO in my own place. And then I got married, and we were too poor to own HBO. And by the time I could, Oz wasn't even a thing anymore.
Everybody got killed.
Subtitles. There was not another season.
Everybody was dead.
They slipped on bullets. Shout out to everybody who didn't know that Elizabeth Olsen was Mary-Kate and Ashley's little sister.
I saw that on Twitter, and I was very confused on that idea.
I didn't know, but I also was like,
she looks like them.
I don't know.
She doesn't look quite as like dead in the eyes.
I mean, she doesn't look gaunt. Like if that's what you're going.
After they stopped showing up on Game Boy Advance cartridges, I stopped paying attention to what the Olsen twins look like. So
go like this. Good.
There's a lot of cheese on this spaghetti.
I'm not judging. I can relate. It's all good. It happens.
So that was I saw that. We'll see what happens with WandaVision. I have a lot of thoughts. We'll see what happens, and then, like we talked about last week, there are 4 Marvel movies this year, and none of them are Doctor Strange. So I'm caught up on Riverdale now, and man, there was a 7-year time jump in that show.
Time jumps are tight.
And well, so I assume it's because like the first 3 episodes of this season were supposed to be the end of last season. So like the time jump would have been over the break, but because of COVID, they had to finish. They didn't complete filming of the previous season.
Well, how convenient.
I know, right? But yo, they're back, and now the kids are teaching at Riverdale. That show is.
Oh, is it like one of the many attempts to continue Saved by the Bell to be?
No,
Screech is now just he works at the school.
I mean, it's possible there are some
dead now, but I
right.
understand.
Sadly,
there are some kids where like we know their names as compared to everyone else just being like faceless people in the background. But I think this is more like Archie and friends are going to save Riverdale, and part of that is giving them hope by rebuilding the school.
From what?
Their mayor, who is Veronica's father, who is bankrupting the town because he wants to build Glowydale or some Slowdale or something like that, half a mile down the road. So, like at one point, as mayor, he unincorporates the town.
Okay.
So anyway, it's Riverdale. You should watch it. It's dumb.
You say this every
rousing
week,
endorsement.
Like, I'm good.
Like they buried a time capsule, and I'm disappointed. None of Josie and the Pussycats could come back because they were from like the first 2 seasons, but they at least mentioned them, which was a nice change from the last 6 years where we haven't talked about anyone that's not actively on the show. But and then Superman and Lois started, and I'm really enjoying that show so far. It is a new show on the CW.
C-dubs.
And it does follow the someone's keeping a secret. I will spoil one thing. So this also has a time jump from the last time you saw Superman in CW. It's 15 years. Him and Lois now have 2 kids, 2 15-year-old boys. And somehow they do not know their father is Superman.
These are the most unobservant children that ever lived.
So they're geniuses.
These are the densest, like, I understand you have to sometimes have a hook. Like, if you watch The Martian, there's never going to be a storm that powerful on Mars that could tip over the rover or the rocket. So, but, like, that's how they have to get everyone out. I understand you have to have that conceit. These children did not notice their father ever out of glasses. Like,
these are pretty dumb kids, man.
But in their defense, I don't think Dash and Violet knew that Mr. Incredible was Mr. Incredible.
But Mr. Incredible wasn't being Mr. Incredible while they were kids.
True.
Yeah.
The show starts with Superman saving a reactor, and like he goes to a local river and freezes a chunk of water in it, then brings it in to like cool down the reactor.
Like
so he gets wet. Has he never gone in a pool? Has his kids never seen him in a rainstorm? Because he would look a lot like Superman at that point.
Doesn't he lose his job because of like downsizing?
Okay, that is the biggest fantasy. People working at newspapers and making a living. That's probably in this show. Because his wife also quits the Daily Planet in episode 2. So now neither of them have been gone. And we've gotten rid of because the Daily Planet's being run by some evil capitalist that is not Lex Luthor, but is definitely going to be found out to be a Luthor. Because the Lex Luthor in this world is actually not from the world of Superman and Lois. He is from some other universe. And apparently people are losing their mind because he's black. And I don't understand why. He's also like a Master Chief / Doom Slayer ripoff. Like he's in a suit of armor that is just a mixture of those 2 characters.
Like he's just regularly in a suit of armor, just like on GP. I'm in a suit of armor.
So the only time we've seen him outside of the suit of armor and like you actually see his face is in like towards the end of the 2nd episode. Otherwise, all you've seen him is beat the stuffing out of Superman in this like Doom Slayer Master Chief. Maybe throw a little Crisis in for the headset, like power suit, and he stabs Superman with a kryptonite knife.
And what episode is this?
This is episode 1.
Wow, Should I be
I'm
watching
already
this
bored.
show? Is that what I'm hearing?
Like what's weird is they make Superman like it is a fun Superman. It's not like the like holier than thou that some of the movies are. And it's like a weird mixture of Superman lore because if you'll see a clip online, he's wearing the original suit, like 1940s Action Comics, S on a black background, lighter blue. He catches a green car, which is reminiscent of like that Action Comics front. And then a kid like hatch drops off, so he picks it up, puts it on the kid, and the kid's like, "Nice costume." And he's like, "My mom made it for me." So like there's definitely some camp to it. But like you can watch it on the CW app if you don't have access to it. And it's like it's literally the first episode was 2 hours. Oh, and then the second episode, the regular show is an hour long. So it's 3 hours.
I have a question,
okay.
And I think that it's a pressing question that everybody has on their hearts and in their minds. Is the theme song of this new one better than Smallville?
So,
I never watched Smallville.
You never. Somebody save me.
So, Smallville's theme song is by Remy Zero. My coworker sent me a remake of Superman and Lois's opening as the Smallville opening, which is hilarious, which was very funny to watch. And I will send that to you, Rashanii.
I appreciate you.
But it is not that. But like they do reference things that did happen in Smallville, but I don't know, like it's not clear where this happens in the timeline or how it relates to everything. And you don't have to, like in CW shows, you don't have to care about all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. But
I love shows I don't have to care. That's
well, no, it's just like you don't have to watch all 6 different superhero shows they have going to understand what's going on.
I just can't wait till the Flash shows up on this show. It's gonna happen.
I mean, there's gonna be a crossover, but like the weird thing is, again, it's a 15-year jump cut. And the last time we saw them was in Crisis of Infinite Earths with like Grant Gustin and all those people, and what Ollie became the Spectre and all that stuff. So like I don't know how this ties into timelines, but for example, he says so they are in Smallville. He moves back to Smallville with the kids and Lois, and he's talking to his sons about high school, and he's like, "Oh, I think high school will be better for you guys." For homecoming, they taped me up to a tractor with duct tape. And I'm like, that happened in Smallville.
That happened in Smallville, yeah.
That's when he finds out there's just kryptonite everywhere in that town. Anyway, so yeah. So I mean, I think Superman and Lois, again, there's 3 hours of content so far. But like, I don't know, if you want a fun superhero show that is probably a light investment, like you should check it out. Like Superman is a more hopeful Superman than like dark, depressing most of Brandon Roth's Superman.
Has Superman gotten shot at point blank in the eyeball with a gun yet?
He has not. But
that's the only thing Superman has ever done well.
Well, I mean, I like Man of Steel. I hate Kevin Costner in Man of Steel.
I thought I was the only one who I really enjoyed Man of Steel. I thought I was the only one.
Like Man of Steel.
Wait, I'm talking about
you're talking about Brandon
Return
Roth,
of Superman.
Return of Superman.
Because
like,
guaranteed, anybody that could ever do that, I would do that nonstop all day long. Just go up to somebody and say, "Just shoot me right in the eyeball."
Well, that's the funny thing about Superman. Superman will sit there and you'll empty the clip into him, but when you throw the gun at him, he'll dodge.
Was that a George Reeves thing?
It happens across, like, the less we talk about Dean Cain, probably the better, but it happens across like Superman and Lois, or Lois and Clark. It happened. Like, there are a bunch of examples that Superman, like, oh no, the guy has a knife. Like, what? who you just picked up like an ocean tanker or whatever? Who cares? I mean, there's a line from a Logan comic, from a Wolverine comic that's good. Like, I just beat up the biggest guy you have here, but I appreciate that the rest of you are going to put in the effort to try to take me down.
Right.
Because and that's the same thing with Superman. Like, guys, like this isn't. What's the point?
Well, that's why the only way to defeat Superman is to pull at his heartstrings or make him feel guilty or something.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, in this first episode, he gets stabbed with a kryptonite knife and starts falling. But like, Superman is kind of the main character in this, but more it's about his sons and like, oh my God, which one's going to develop powers? Are they both going to get powers? Who knows?
I know this is stupid and I shouldn't say this, but I get that there's theoretically like a small piece of kryptonite or whatever that came with Superman. We don't have a grain of sand from Mars yet, but somehow plenty of pieces of rocks from a planet like light years away just shows up at random times.
Well, okay. Yes, the cosmic ballet that multiple times kryptonite has fallen on Earth. So like when Supergirl arrives 20 years later, but like the argument generally is like whatever the envelope that how the spaceship flies through space is why there are chunks of Krypton that are stuck with it
and never burn up in Earth's atmosphere.
No, because actually, you know what? That is the one other weird thing in Superman and Lois. Superman remembers arriving on Earth. Like that is the opening to that show. And he's like, the first thing I remember is hearing the rocket, like, against wind shear and whatnot. Like, rock against wind shear. So, anyway.
Smart kid.
So, but yeah. So, that's I think that's probably it for now.
All right. Rashanii, what games you been playing?
Right now, currently in my hand, see, PlayStation 4 controller, because I'm not like you bougie people
I
with the 5.
that.
I don't have a PlayStation 5.
I just have a dual sense, but no PlayStation 5. I just want to be down. That's all.
See, hi Brandy. See, if y'all get that reference, then you need to take your medication.
Find my medication.
So this right here is connected to a PlayStation 4, which connects to this wonderful game called Persona 5 Strikers. And let me tell you something. If you've ever played Dynasty Warriors and you're like, this is great, but it needs more of a storyline. And if you've ever played Persona 5 and you're like, this is great, but it needs a lot more just end-to-end live action kickings. Mm-hmm. Baby, do I got something for you. Persona 5 Strikers it reminds me of Dynasty Warriors because there's waves and waves of people coming at you, but there's a storyline to it. So now it's not like Dynasty Warriors to me. The more I play it, the more it reminds me of Secret of Mana.
Okay.
Oh,
whereas so more like an action RPG kind of deal?
Yeah, so as you walk around, it's an RPG, and as you walk around, you'll walk into character. You'll see enemies that will then spawn like hundreds of followers, and you have to kill all the followers. And there's this whole intricate linking battle system, and you can still level up people, and there's bonds and all that kind of stuff, and it's really, really fun. The only problem I have with it is, as with the original Persona 5, because there's been Persona 5, and then there's Persona 5 Royal, which is like a almost like a bonus version of Persona 5, but with like bonus content, DLC type stuff in it. In those games, you're going to school in the day, and then at night you get to go to like these dungeons to try and fight monsters to free people's hearts. It's a whole story. But because you're a student, you got to go to bed at some time. You get tired. And so as you're going through these dungeons, which is in a different world or a different type, it's in a metaverse, your character's stamina starts to drop. And you get tired and you have to go back home and rest so then you can balance work life and school life. In Strikers, they take that to the hilt. Like, honestly, sometimes it feels like I fight one fight and then my people are like, my stamina's low. I need to go home. So fight one fight, go back, recharge, come back in, fight two fights, have to go recharge my stamina, go back in, and it's tedious. It feels like they're stretching out the game in a way that is just that's completely unnecessary, and it makes you actually want to avoid battles so that you can make it further in the game and see more of the storyline, which is really, really well done. The voice acting is the same as Persona 5's voice acting. The storyline is almost a direct continuation from the Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal storyline. I recommend it, especially if you play Persona. If you play Persona and you loved it, I would say play it. I didn't like Dynasty Warrior type games. I found them to be repetitive. As a matter of fact, there was a game that came out maybe for the PlayStation 2, might have been for the Xbox, and it was a game by Rockstar where your whole job was to start a riot. I don't know what it was called.
State of emergency.
State of emergency.
Came on after GTA.
Right. It was
State of emergency. And I thought that game was the best when it came out initially. But I found it to be empty and vapid over time. And I find the same thing with Dynasty Warriors because it's like a rinse and repeat type thing. You go in there, you mash some buttons, you kill 1,000 people, you get a big combo, you move on to the next one. You do the same thing over and over again. This one is more engaging to me because it has the storylines with characters that I am attached to. But at the same time, to be completely honest with you, if you've never played a Persona game before, this is going to be another rinse and repeat experience for you with characters that you don't care about and the storyline that you really don't know what's what.
I'm raising my hand right now.
So
I've ordered 3 copies of it.
So if you've never played Persona 5 before, if you've never been in the Persona universe, if this isn't something that is your cup of tea, then it's not going to be your cup of tea. And nothing I'm going to say is going to change your mind. And I'm cool with that. Unlike other people who will literally crucify you over what music you listen to, I'm good with you making your own decisions. However, I'm going to say that right now, my decision is I got this game. My beloved wife bought this game for me on... Today's Thursday. She bought it for me on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Sunday. And I have played it at least 3 hours a day, every day since.
Was that her intention for you to play it for 3 hours a day or just...
Well, I play it at night, while she's asleep or while she's at school. Like I said, she's in nursing school. Okay. So I play it while she's doing that. And I mean, I earned it. I helped her with a paper for her scholarship. So I earned the damn thing. It wasn't like it was free. But she bought me this game, and I'm loving every moment of it. But it's going to get repetitive. The Dynasty Warrior downfall, the DWD, is that it always gets repetitive.
Oh, yeah.
And so you start trying to fight your way through those fights so you can get back to the storyline. And I know that's going to happen. I'm dreading when that happens. But right now, my characters are still at that sweet spot where you got to actually fight to survive instead of just tapping somebody once and they evaporate. And I think that's the problem that I had with a lot of games. It wasn't just Dynasty Warriors either. Infamous. There's a point in Infamous where you're so OP that nobody can deal with you. In all these games, you just get to the point where it's like one tap kill. I don't want that. And that's going to happen here.
I didn't play Infamous enough. I was getting killed with those garbage men 18 blocks away with their perfect aim. Oh, I couldn't stand that.
So my wife bought me that game, and then she also bought me the Avengers, which I've played maybe...
I really like that game.
I've played maybe an hour of it thus far. It's just, I like it too. I wanted it. I got it. She got me the special edition. It's on sale for it was on sale for the PlayStation until yesterday for like 75% off, which is the perfect time to buy the Avengers. The only problem is, when you buy 2 games, you're not going to be able to love them both the same.
No, that's fair.
That is true.
And so I've played the Avengers long enough to get through the A-Day experience and then get Miss Marvel, who I'm a Miss Marvel fan. I love Kamala Khan so much. Her comic books were the first ones I read through like completely on Marvel Unlimited.
Okay. So
getting the chance to play as her is a definite experience, and I'm enjoying every aspect of it. It's just that I love Persona 5 right now. The storyline is good. The action is good. The sneaking is good. Everything is good. It's just not what I'm looking for right now. I think that's it. And I don't feel badly about that. I have been replaying this wonderful, horrible, and I say wonderful and horrible at the same time because it's such an ugly game, but it's so beautiful. It's a pixel game called Not a Hero. And it came out a long time ago. Yes. You're the bunny, you're working for Bunny Lord.
Yep.
And it's such a wonderful game and it's so funny. And they don't it's like if they made a video game with the characters of Snatch, the movie Snatch, and then gave them all guns and different powers. And they cuss all the way through it, and they're just horrible people. And it's full of action, like it's in the end, just Matrix moves type action. And I've been playing that on my computer. Why have I been playing it on my computer? Why not? Who cares? It's been a long time since I talked to y'all. It's fun. But again, because Persona 5 is here, it'll probably take a back seat, as well as did Killer Queen Black. Bought that for Steam. Bought it on the Switch as well, but bought it on Steam when it was $4. And finally got a chance to play it with 8 actual people. And 4 hours later, I was like, where the hell did the time go? Killer Queen Black is an amazing game if you have all the players that you need to play it. But if you don't, it's not good.
I mean, it's boring. Like, without that. Like, I bought it too, and I don't know why I bought it.
I think isn't it about to come out on Game Pass?
It is now out on Game Pass.
It is now.
You know, if it's out on Game Pass, I would say that y'all should do like a game night where you play it on Game Pass and you get 8 people together, the same way that y'all do when you play Among Us. Get 8 people together to play Killer Queen Black, and you'll see it in a whole new light. Because playing it with 8 people, the trash talk and the yelling and screaming and all of that, it's like the first time you played Perfect Dark.
Oh, unsold.
He didn't say Perfect Dark Zero.
I didn't say Perfect Dark Zero. Perfect Dark Zero doesn't exist. I didn't say Perfect Dark Zero never happened. Like, we retconned that one. I'm talking about the first time you played in the bathroom level of Perfect Dark, and you put that laptop gun turret gun up. So then, as soon as people spawn, they got shot in the face.
That's good stuff right there.
I mean,
I used to climb up into the vents of the bathroom on Perfect Dark and plant a proximity mine right where people would spawn at.
Why would they even let you climb back up there? That's the thing that makes no sense. There's no reason if you'd ever go back up into the vent. None. But
it's so great. Oh my God, I'm crying just thinking about it. So that's the moments that you have with Killer Queen Black as well. But if you're by yourself, it's not that. Hades was the game of the year last year, and it was deserved. I have beaten that game so many different ways that I don't even think there's a storyline for me anymore in that game. It's
I was just going to say, did you beat it 10 times to get the true ending?
I've beaten it
10 times.
Wow. Yes. Hold on. I think I've beaten it like 70 times.
Oh man!
At this point in time,
how many hours do you think you put into that game?
I'm about to find out.
I was going to say, I think we're checking the counter now.
Let's get that.
Yeah, I'm about to look and find out, honestly.
Well, while you're checking the counter, I'm going to say, my only problem with Killer Queen is going to be I have played it in person.
Oh my God! Somebody told. Look, so here's the thing, Tiny.
It's at MagFest. That's why I've played it before.
One of my friends has this system that I'm going to get called a Mega K, where you can have 4 people. It's like a 4-player arcade system. He told me that if you want, you can get an 8-player system built. So I'm going to get the 8-player system just so I can play Killer Queen Black.
Where do you store it? Like, is that a coffee table at that point? Like,
no, it's an actual arcade cabinet.
It's a load-bearing part of your home.
Is it a 2-floor? I mean, I understand. Like the Killer Queen to play 8 players is they have 2 cabinets networked together essentially, so that each team is 4 players against each other. Anyway, yeah, we played it at MagFest. I'm assuming since Mike and Aaron have not spoke up.
I have never played it. I've looked at it. It's always been full of people.
Oh yeah, I've seen it, but I've played it on some system I have, Xbox, one of them. So, maybe I have it on Switch.
I bought it on Switch when it came out.
Yeah, I have it on something.
Have since not booted up. So, but
Okay.
But what is the number for Hades?
That's where I'm on my way to. I had to grab my controller real quick. Okay, so at this point in time, people won't even talk to me anymore. The storyline is completely rot. Let's see here. Okay. Where do I get this information? Dang it, it's been so long since I played it. Okay, keep talking amongst yourselves. I feel bad now.
Hey, no worries. I see you also, while you're looking that up, I see you also playing. Which version of Puzzle Quest have you been playing?
Oh, that game. I'm sorry, y'all. I cuss sometimes, and it's usually only when I think about Puzzle Quest. So here's the thing about Puzzle Quest that y'all need to know. First of all, don't trust the computer.
Yep.
I don't.
It's important that you don't trust a computer because a computer is going to try and get you to trust it by doing small things like putting up signs that'll say you should make a move right here. And so when you make a move right there, I've beaten this game 218 times. So when you make a move, it immediately leads to the computer having a 25 run combo where they just keep getting 4 in a row and 5 in a row.
I mean, I understand why they suggested that move then. So
yeah, me too. It's the same way I would have suggested to my kid that they place their checker here, so then I could do a quadruple jump on them and laugh at them.
Yeah.
I just and the thing is, I kept falling for the Lucy holding the football. For a long time, they would make a suggestion. I'd be like, "That's so nice of you." Again, for real. We're gonna do this again.
It's in a way predictable because the same computer that's trying to beat you is the one giving you the advice. If a separate machine was giving you the advice, maybe it doesn't have skin in the game.
No,
at that point, I was gonna say at that point it's just like the unreliable narrator from BioShock or from System Shock or from any of the shocks.
Actually, I take that back. I played 232 times and I've beaten it 64 times.
Okay.
Wow.
Which is still an incredibly obnoxious number.
Hey, you got your money's worth, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I love that game.
It's a very good game.
It is.
I
should play it more, but I don't want
it. It is so good. Like I'm at the point now where I try and do things just to make it harder on myself, and it's even funner that way. Like I'm still figuring out ways to just dominate stuff in that game, and it is the best. Puzzle Quest is one of those games where if you listen to the computer, you're a dummy. But also, I used to get really mad about how the computer would completely they screw you with the cell phones. If you remember that, take your medication. But
Lethal Weapon 3 or 4?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not Jet Li Lethal Weapon. So.
If you level up your character, you will come back to that same character that was beating you brutally in Puzzle Quest, and you will beat the snot out of them the same way that they beat the snot out of you, because there's this set of weapons called the Storm Sword and Storm whatever else. And so whenever you get a 4 in a row, it destroys 2 columns completely. And so then whenever you get like experience gems, it destroys 2 columns immediately, and so you come back like, who touched my food, and you're just beating up everybody. And then I got the demo for Project Triangle Strategy, which is such a stupid name.
Yeah, they could have tried a little harder on that one.
They really could. I know that
they still haven't figured out what game they're making yet. So
but in the making of it, that was one of the best demos I've played in a long time.
Really?
Like, I haven't felt that way about a game since I played, of course, Final Fantasy Tactics. But also, it's like if you take the gameplay of Final Fantasy Tactics and you couple it with if you make this decision, it's going to change the entire fabric of how this game is played going forward, of Fallout. Like you thought I was going to say Mass Effect, but no, Fallout 3. You know, where if you hit that button and nuke Megaton,
I'm like, I know exactly where you're going to. Okay. I thought you were going to say a Telltale game. Like, I thought you were going to be like, Newt remembers you didn't give him an apple.
You know what? That's
Newt
also
died.
a good one. It is kind of like that because there's in the demo, one of the things that happens is a evil dictator takes over the kingdom and kills the king, and then he's like, I'm going to burn your village down unless you give up the prince. The prince is in your party, of course. And so the prince, you can decide whether to give up the prince and save your village or to fight and protect the prince. If you fight, in the midst of fighting, the bad guy burns down your village. And everybody who talks to you from that point on was like, you probably should have chosen the other option.
Thanks for the reminder.
In the other one, if you choose to give up the prince, then the bad guy tells the prince, all right, I need you to place an order to have this entire place burned down or I'm going to murder you both. So it's two completely different storylines that are both really engaging and really dope. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do with it going forward. But it doesn't come out till 2022.
Right.
And then after you finish playing the demo, they send you an email and ask you to do a survey, which I've never seen people do when you play a demo before. They send you a survey and ask you, what did you like about this? What worked for you? How difficult was this mission? How long did it take for you to defeat this mission? What would you like to see differently? And one thing that I told them, the only thing that pissed me off about the demo, it's an old Final Fantasy style game.
Right.
But they use old world spelling for stuff that doesn't make sense. Literally. What, Aaron? No, Mike. Let's do Mike first. Mike.
Okay.
What does GAOL spell?
Gowl?
Nope. In this game, it spells jail.
Oh, no. Okay. So this actually further fuels my wild range of emotions when I've, because I have not actually played this yet, even though I downloaded it. But watching that video when they announced it and all the information, it was a constant back and forth of boring, sold. Oh, I'm out. I'm back in. And what you just said, I don't know. I might be back out again.
What I told them, and hold on, Aaron, what does DEMENSE spell?
That was way too long.
What?
DEMENSE.
I thought you would have some weird word spelling of demons, but I don't even.
Nope, that spells domain.
Okay,
exactly.
Doubly out.
Which is the problem? The problem that I told them. That is my biggest
fill that
problem with
survey
this.
out and tell them to ditch that. Throw it out.
That's exactly what I did.
Please.
I filled it out to them, and the reason why I said that is because there are people who play games who can't hear. And so they're reading the subtitles. And if you have words, made up words that don't sound anything like the way that you spelled it, they're going to be lost.
Right.
So you are literally keeping people away from your story because you want to be different.
Too different.
I railed about it. I was furious. So I feel you, Mike. But other than that, it was a great game. And I'm sure they're going to fix that because one guy told them to.
Well, I'll join in. If I get around to playing it and I fill out the survey, I will absolutely say the same.
I'll play it again just so they send me another survey and be like, it's me again.
You fixed this yet? I mean, if they go anything like they did with Bravely Default 2 or whatnot, you're going to get 3 more demos before this game comes out. So you will see the progress.
I will happily take it. But like I said, it is
lack thereof.
Or lack thereof, yeah.
I loved Final Fantasy Tactics. Like I have it for every system. Like Aaron has Resident Evil 3. 4, sorry. I was so close. It's been a long time. If they fix this, if they fix that one thing, just that stupid language thing, it'll be maybe in the running for one of my games of the year for 2022. And I don't even know what's coming up the pike for the rest of the year yet.
Yeah, I'm with you though. This style of gameplay in that very specific era of the PS1, it was really one of my favorite genres of all time. But as soon as they advanced it into stuff that I didn't care about anymore, like Disgaea, I was out. I was like, I don't like this anymore. I don't like the way this moves. I don't like the way it plays. But when they did that Mario and Rabbids game, it was close enough to that PS1 style of that, rotate the map around square grid-based strategy, not the hex-based stuff. That's too many directions to worry about.
Too many sides.
But that was a simple enough game. Like, I know XCOM's been doing it and everything, and that's cool, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't stick with it. But when it's just accessible enough, that's what I like, and that's what I'm kind of excited about, the potential for this. But it could also, like all I said, there could be one thing about it that I just despise, and I'm just out.
I feel you. One of the things that I love about the game already, two things. One thing is the fact that there are tons of times when I was playing Final Fantasy Tactics or whatever game it was usually Final Fantasy Tactics. You know what? You said Mario and the Rabbids game. That game is flarkin' fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I love most...
It is my favorite Switch game so far.
It might be. I might be right there with you. Like, seriously, like, that game is... I might go back and play that again.
Have you played the Donkey Kong levels?
Yes.
Which was a DLC. That was also really good.
One of my favorite things about that game is when you do a move with one character and it knocks the enemy up into the air, and then Luigi's right there with a sniper rifle.
Oh, I love it.
He takes a shot with his sniper rifle, and it blows them right into another character and it just leads a combo after combo after combo.
The best is when you've got Mario with his double Overwatch and Luigi with his triple Steely Stare. You could shoot somebody 5 times in the air after bouncing them one time. It was like, oh, this is so cool.
And you laugh out loud when you see it.
Yeah, it's great.
Project Triangle Strategy. Please change that name. PTS. And PTSD. Actually, check this out. PTSD, because it's a demo. PTSD is
right.
The thing that they have that's really cool that they never had in any other game that I used to beg for is if you flank an enemy, like you have one of your characters in front of them and one on behind them, when you hit the enemy from behind, they will knock into your character that's in front of them, and your character that's in front of them will hit them again back into the character that's behind them. So they get hit 3 times. It's not that big of a thing, yet it's something that why didn't anybody think of this before?
That sounds cool.
Just don't ruin this game with that stupid language. Like, stop trying to outthink it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the type of thing that just shows me that even though we are fighting for inclusion in gaming, it's still not there as far as inclusion, because somebody other than me in this company should have saw that and been like, you know what? That's not going to work for this entire group of people.
Yeah.
But nobody did. I think I'm going to go on Twitter and talk to them about it right now.
Give them hell.
Well, hopefully there's plenty of time to address those concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Over the next decade or so, that they'll get in and some localization up in there.
They're going to make this the last official Switch release of all time in 10 years.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, shout out to the Switch for, getting brand new 4K screens on their next Switch, but still not having Bluetooth capability for the headsets.
Or at least like 3.5 headphone jacks for like the $70 Pro controllers, but I do.
Or fixing the drift on the Joy-Cons.
That's a feature.
Keep you guessing.
It's a big, with a jagged line circle around it. It says now with drift right on the box. especially on the lights, because you say permanent drift. There's no fixing this one.
Nope. At that point, it is a feature. All right, Mike, what have you been playing?
So our friends BC Terps talked up Valheim enough that I gave it a shot.
Okay.
And I played a couple hours with him the other night, and I did find it interesting, and it is something I do think I'll put some more time into. And he there I found some encouragement in the description that there's actually a goal. There's like a number of bosses you're trying to defeat, as opposed to like Minecraft, which is just like, what do you mean? What do you do? You just build, or you just do what you want to do.
But there's an ending to Minecraft, I believe.
Is there?
Yeah, when you go through the nether
Nether
world and defeat the. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's already more than I knew, because I look at Minecraft and go, that's ugly. I don't want to play this. Also, there's no way I'd be able to build any of that really cool looking stuff that people can build. I can't do that, so I'm out.
Good to know your
Valheim, it's janky and it looks a little strange, but also, I mean, you know, you've heard lots of other people, I'm sure, podcasts, whatever, talk about like how some stuff looks cool and some stuff looks weird, whatever. And it's all true, but it doesn't play all that bad. I think the combat's very competent. And the enemies aren't like overwhelming. You don't just roll up on somebody like the first time you see somebody go, oh, I'm like slaughtered. It's like, nah, it's, you know, even if you just have fists, you have like a chance to beat the first few creatures or things, or like hogs that just like decide they want to attack you just because you're there, and you just like punch them in the face and they just explode in a mist of blood. It's like, all right, that was weird. That was weird. But you know, we built a house, we crafted some things, and you know, a troll scared me a bunch of times, and BC kept saying, no, don't fight. We're not ready to fight that yet.
I think the last game he was really excited about that I remember was PUBG.
And I, you know, put a lot of time into that until I, you know,
we all just
fell off of it.
So.
And then it completely became a different game. Like at this point, if I fired up PUBG, I'd be like, I don't even know what's going on.
Is it still popular?
Still jumping out of an airplane? Idea. I don't even know. Because you know,
I think it's still like the globally popular game.
It might be, but you know, when it comes
locally,
to like,
it's still Fortnite. So
it's like when people talk about things, yeah, like Fortnite is just like, oh, did you go to that concert in Fortnite?
No.
You mean while you're dodging bullets, aren't people trying to murder you? I don't understand. It's like, no, we were doing dances the whole time.
Where was your gun?
Like what are we talking about here? I don't even understand. So that's kind of how that felt. But yeah, I'll give Valheim some more time. It does feel like a game where I'm not gonna go, I got like 15 minutes. I'm gonna fire up Valheim and see if I can accomplish something. It's like, no, I need like an hour or two,
right,
in a chunk to like, you know, to poke at it some.
No. Well, I'll have to pick it before you go on though. You brought up concerts, and I forgot to mention this.
Okay.
Did anyone else watch the Pokemon Post Malone concert?
I did not.
What is that?
It was last week. Would have been the 25th anniversary of Pokemon releasing, and they did a concert with Post Malone on the internet.
What does that mean? Like, is
he is, if you watch it, it's like a digital Post Malone flying through the Pokemon world, singing a bunch of songs. Well, like 4 songs, really. 3 of which they have to censor. And the last one is a cover of Hootie and the Blowfish, Only Want to Be With You.
What does this have to do with Pokemon?
Absolutely nothing. But there is a lot of like precedent set there.
How was this connected in any way?
There's a lot of precedent set there. Because like if you even go back to like the first movie, there's a whole soundtrack inspired by the movie from like Britney Spears and NSYNC and
that's news to me.
Like all that stuff like that. There is the actual soundtrack, and then there's music inspired by Pokemon, the first movie. But and I bring this all up as a tangent. He, like I said, he covered Hootie and the Blowfish's "Only Want to Be With You." He changes a line in that, and he says the Cowboys make him cry. And in the original song, it's the Dolphins make me cry. That's because apparently Darius Rucker was singing about the Miami Dolphins. And I have
Wait, wait.
Exactly.
Wait, no. This isn't a wait like I didn't know that. This is a wait like nobody knew that. You're the second person I've heard talk about this.
No, of course I never knew that.
No idea.
I just thought he was crying about aquatic animals.
Exactly.
It's not capitalized, so it's not like it's a proper in any of the lyrics that I see. It's not a proper noun, so it's not like I know he's talking about the Dolphins.
I'm just gonna say I've never looked up the lyrics to.
Well, he is best friends with Dan Marino.
So. Well, in the video, wasn't Dan Marino in the video?
I have no idea. Laces
I
on.
didn't have cable. I didn't have cable.
You know what?
This movie
I got
that one. But to your point, now that I read an article about it, he's like, no, I'm a huge fan of the Miami Dolphins. I named my daughter after this hero, and it's an Instagram picture of his daughter with Dan Marino. So yeah, I needed to share. I did not realize he was singing about the Miami Dolphins.
I mean, I'm with you. I didn't know until you said it, so I learned it after you.
So, and not just to throw this out here, like neither of them make any sense for context in that song. Like it doesn't matter if it's about Miami Dolphins or about like aquatic animals, because there is nothing in the rest of those lyrics around it that makes sense about why he's crying about it. So
been looking for a girl like you. Right. Now I'm gonna listen to that song. You know, that's a song that when I was younger, I thought it was for white people, but now that I'm older, I know that I can listen to whatever I want because I'm not in the hood.
I mean, honestly, it wasn't until like Napster came out that I was like, oh, I remember this song. I used to like, let me look it up. And I built up a collection of things that were not hip hop or R&B.
Me too.
Napster, I mean, because I could get my hands on anything, and I did.
Shout out to peer pressure. Also, shout out to thinking that you were illegally downloading Dr. Dre's new CD to find out that it was really a mixtape.
One of those things.
Yeah. Oh, you mean back in the day?
Yeah, where anybody could name a CD or their mixtape anything, so people would name their really obscure mixtape by JoJo and the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
they'd name it Dr. Dre's unreleased Chronic album and put it up on Napster and get 1 million downloads.
Now it works for Detox because that's never coming out. So
exactly.
Yeah. There was a lot of mislabeled stuff back in the day.
Well, I mean, especially once you get past Napster and you get to like people were using Kazaa and whatnot, and that just seemed like a way to get like viruses.
LimeWire, Kazaa, Morpheus, eDonkey, all that crap.
This is when I say I was using BitTorrent already, so like hipster.
You was using BitTorrent back then.
2001. The first time I got access to high speed is when I also learned about BitTorrent. So we didn't have high speed internet at home, so until I got to college.
I was using Easy News, which was a nice package, just taking bulletin boards and just packaging them. I only canceled that like last year because I mean it was I would get everything from that thing. It was nuts. I paid for it for so long. I was like, I should probably cancel this at this point. I don't need this anymore.
I'm going to circle back. I'm watching this Hootie and the Blowfish video, and literally 11 seconds in, while Sports Center is talking about Hootie and the Blowfish and how the Dolphins make him cry, he's walking onto the field wearing a Dan Marino jersey with Dan Marino.
I don't think I've ever seen
that. I don't think I've ever seen this.
I don't think I've seen the video either.
Did not have cable when this would have been a contemporary.
Wasn't that song on Ace Ventura?
Was it though?
I mean, there was certainly the Dan Marino
the reference. I mean, yeah, but the Crying Gang was certainly a song. I know all there is to know.
Me too.
Oh, that was my movie. I saw that movie so many times at the $1.50 show. It was crazy. 4 times I saw that movie.
I'm glad I derailed this because
yes, it was worth it.
But y'all aren't the only ones. Like this, literally, a post came up 11 hours ago on MSN.com.
No, because again, I did not have access to MTV again until I went to college, really. So that would have been long past when Hootie and the Blowfish would have been on anything but VH1.
But imagine the Venn diagram, just like you're describing, and you're part of the Venn diagram of people who know the song.
I own the CD.
But one way or the other, whether it's from the time or after, of course, the people who know the song and the people who have seen the MTV music video, that thing that's on the TV all the time nowadays. Yes. I mean, granted, it's on YouTube. You just looked it up. It's there. Anybody can do that. But how many people who are discovering music these days are like, you know what? I got to watch the music videos of all the songs that I've never heard of until very recently, and now I'm getting deep into.
You know what? Let me do this. Let me add to these things. For all you young folks out there who are listening to this show, Semi-Charm Type of Life is about crystal meth.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it is.
There She Goes is a song about heroin.
Less popular, but I'm with you so far.
Yeah, go ahead and say the lyrics to yourself. There she goes again. Racing through my veins.
A lot of 90s, like any 90s
I probably
song
never understood the word veins, but
like half of the 90s easy rock songs talking about a significant other, 100% about drugs. Like they're not about the subject that they think.
Let's demonize hip hop.
Oh no, that like 100% the double, like just anyway. Yes, but I did not know. I was first confused why Post Malone would change the word dolphin to cowboys, and then until I looked it up and I'm like, oh.
The only thing I know about Post Malone is the song he did with that guy for Into the Spider-Verse. That's all I like.
That's the only.
That's my song, and that's all I know. And
that's the only thing I know about him. Otherwise, if you watch this Pokemon concert,
I think he's pretty famous for the facial tattoos.
He does look like
you see him and you're like, oh, I think that's this other guy Joe that I know. It's like,
there's no doubt. There's only one him.
There's a rumor that Miles Morales is going to show up in the new Spider-Man.
There is.
I hope they don't version confirm
Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Only because
in the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
They have spoiled everything about that movie already. It's like, stop telling us stuff. Let us be surprised by something.
Mm-hmm.
I think they told Tom Holland that he was filming Spider-Man, but it turned out it was actually something completely different just because they know he can't keep his mouth
he'd leak
shut.
it, so
yeah.
No, they just told him he was refilming that movie with Daisy Ridley. What's the one where
Star Wars?
Where people see what you think? That I don't even understand.
Yeah,
what
that one.
Is.
So I think it's on theaters. I'm not entirely certain.
I think I'm not going. I know I'm not going.
Right. So, but the Cowboys make me cry. So
yes, they do.
I mean, it's funny because the Cowboys will suck up until the point where they trade for Russell Wilson. But please continue.
But Mike, you were going to talk about Dreamcast.
Well, I'll pretend this is a transition from something that was mentioned half an hour ago at this point. One of the things that I played on my Dreamcast, as I mentioned before, playing that Fist of the North Star recently fan-ported game. This is the series of Atomis Wave hardware, which were arcade games, most of which never left, if maybe not all, never left Japan. One of these games is called Dolphin Blue. And it is a straight-up Metal Slug ripoff. But instead of getting in a little tank, you ride a dolphin around while firing a machine gun. And
like real life.
It's fun.
Like
it's cool. It looks really good. There's a lot of slowdown though. And I don't know if any of it is attributed to the conversion, whatever they had to do. Because again, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. Whatever was done to make it playable on the Dreamcast versus how it was in the arcade. But it is as bad as like Super R-Type. It's
Gradius 3.
It makes it somewhat easier in those moments, but it's kind of frustrating too. But outside of that, I think it looks really cool. It's like using, very nice anime style 2D art with 3D backgrounds. So it's cool. It's like definitely one of the most interesting things that I've seen in the pack. There's something like dozen, maybe 18 of these games. I don't know if they've done all of them yet. I think they said there's a few, but none of the ones that they didn't do that I saw on a recent list were like, I don't care about any of that stuff. Like some of them look like party games that were like, I don't know, if you're not excited about like sitting around an arcade machine and playing these games that don't make a whole lot of sense if you don't speak Japanese, like I don't know. So I didn't bother with them. But like one of those ones, it was called Dirty Pigskin Football, and it's basically the NFL 2K game dumbed down in a NFL Blitz style arcade football game, but the teams are all like, you're the hitmen, so you're all a bunch of guys in black suits, but you're still playing a game of football against a team of zombies or something like that. Like it's like out of this world nonsense, but you're still just playing football.
So like they have
Blitz.
They have no special like.
If they did, I didn't see it.
Okay, because I was trying to think like, is this like Mutant League or?
I mean, it possibly
would ultimately
is in there,
be Blood Bowl,
and I didn't know how to do any of it. But like, nobody like killed me or anything. It still just seemed like regular tackling and throwing a ball to me. Gotcha. But it's wild to just take a look at this weird game from 20 years ago or something and go, I don't know what they were thinking when they made this, but I'm glad I got a chance to check it out. So. I'm still poking at the Dreamcast. I got, I forget if I said it, but I got a HDMI cable. I didn't like the highly recommended one from, God, I think it's Turkey. The guy, there's like a guy, Bahar Bros or something, make these handcrafted HDMI adapters for Dreamcast. They're like $75 or something. And I was like, it's a lot. It's not really so much about the money as much as like in COVID times, I'll probably be seeing that in like 3 months. So, I think it's called Kaiko brands HDMI cables are among the higher rated of the low tier ones. And I'm like, that's going to be good enough for me. So that's what I've been using. And this past week I got the piece to install the fan modification because, as I mentioned, when I don't know, a month or something back, when I hooked up the Dreamcast for the first time in about a decade, it was so much louder than I ever remembered because that fan is like, a jet engine. So the popular Noctua fan mod by using a 3D printed bracket to install it, and then a little cable adapter so you can plug it into the thing. It is much more quiet. It's hard for me to recommend though because it's not a clean install because that little adapter is so long that you have to kind of like wrap the cable around, and it's like there's no space for any of this. If you have a GDMU, yes, there's lots of space because that board is very small. It's just the SD card and all your games are playing off of that. But with the mode, that's as big as the GD-ROM drive, but not as tall, but it's the same footprint. So there's just no space to wrap this cable around. So it's kind of I don't know, but it's in there. It's fine. You have to do some modifications to It came with a little 3D printed replacement bracket so that you can still open and close the lid with it installed because the fan sticks up more and it's in the way. I don't know. I'd say if you can live with the fan noise, I wouldn't bother. It's kind of neat that it's quieter, but the trade-offs are I don't think it's worth it. So from what I've seen so far, reviews say don't bother with the power. The PSU. Don't like. There's a fan version of a PSU. You can swap it out. It's much smaller, but you don't get as much power. And the original one is actually very reliable. Just make sure that whatever you do, you get the airflow correct in the machine. The ODE is definitely the way to go as far as like improving there. And the fan, I'm like, I don't know. The battery mod and the controller port mod, I'm still kind of mulling over what I'm going to do with that. But so far, I think between the higher quality output with the HDMI using the M cable and the ODE, it's just like it's opened up a whole new world. Man, I loved the Dreamcast back in the day. Haven't really played with it. I say I didn't touch it for 10 years. Coming back to it, it's like, yeah, the controller is still kind of uncomfortable. My joints kind of hurt the next day after playing it for like a couple hours. That's its own thing that I'm working on figuring out a solution for. Because some of the reviews for the Retro Fighters DC controller are like, yeah, those triggers are garbage, and I'm like,
yeah, you were saying.
Which is very disappointing because the N64 version is supposed to be great, and I was hoping that this would be the perfect way out, but apparently not. And adapters for like Xbox controllers, like, hey, there's no port for a VMU, and guess what? There's no way of saving your game without a VMU. So, I don't know. So we'll see, but yeah, Dreamcast is still cool, and there's ways to make it look even and play even better in the 2020s.
Okay, well, good stuff.
All right.
So what do you got, Aaron?
Let me see. In terms of board game and stuff, I played some Scribbletown with Amanda, John, and Luna. We did that on Monday. That video should be out pretty soon. This is rolling right. Everybody, you roll these 4 dice. You have to pick 2 of them, and there's cards with special, like special buildings you can build. You're trying to, make your town score you the most points. I did not win, but I had fun. So, which is kind of how things normally go.
Is that another way of saying you lost?
I did lose. I think I came in second. It doesn't matter. It was fun. Play some Macaron. I play a lot of games with Amanda. I realized this, and she wins a lot. Play some Macaron with Amanda and another Twitch streamer named Benita K. Played that on Sunday. I actually won that one. Like I've played it before, but Amanda was sort of teaching it again. I sort of won by accident, but I'll take it because they don't come that often. Let me see. I played Shards of Infinity earlier today with Jay. Jay was on 2 weeks ago, and he beat me pretty soundly the first match. And the second match, I came back and won, which is a big surprise because he's played a lot. He's played a lot more of the analog version, so he knows the game better than I do. Like, I play the digital one a lot, but I feel like if you play the analog version and you play with more than I guess I only play with the AI really, and play with 2 or 3 people. He really knows the game pretty well. But I made a comeback and actually won. I was very surprised. It's a deck builder. I think he played on his phone. I played on Steam. You got to pick those cards right, and I had a chance to hit him with a whole bunch of attacks as opposed to taking other options, and I did that, and it worked out pretty well. And then let's see, we played some Bittersweet with Matt Hawker. He was on this show maybe like a year ago actually. He made the game Composition, the word game with the different animals and then the one human character. Anyway, he has a game called Bittersweet coming out, which is like you're grabbing chocolates out of a chocolate box. So we play that. I played that on John and Amanda's show, Board in East LA. Amanda won, which she is wont to do. It was fun. We'll play that one again. What else? Played a demo again called Prosperitea, which is play on word where you're getting the different ingredients to make different types of tea. Played that one with the girls. I think I won that one. Doesn't matter. It was fun. I had a good time with that one. What else? In terms of video game stuff, I don't know if we talked about Monster Hunter like on the show last week or was just like off show stuff. But yeah, that's a game, and there's some archaic things about how you get into multiplayer and whatever. And hearing that it's been streamlined makes me feel like the originals, the other games, must be just the worst to actually get into.
I mean, there's nothing like jumping through 48 hoops just for the chance to hunt down and murder harmless and digital creatures.
Exactly. You took the words out of
just because they're there.
Yeah, because they're living, and how dare they? So, play some of that. I played a game, a early access game called Fights in Tight Spaces. So when I saw images of it, it reminded me of like Metal Gear Acid kind of thing. But you're picking cards.
That's interesting that you say. Oh yeah, cards, because that's why it's the Metal Gear Acid. But
yeah,
you say as soon as you say that, I think CQC. So Metal Gear reference.
Yeah, and they're kind of going for like a John Wick kind of thing where you're picking different defensive cards, offensive cards. You can elbow the guy next to you, throw him into the other guy, and it's pretty slick. I like it. You can tell it's an early access, but the idea is to make improvements and make the game better, and release it so people can play more finished product. What else? Get a Grip. I've been playing on the Switch. You're a little robot. You want to collect little things. You don't jump. You just have a little grappling hook that comes out of the top of your head, and you use that to swing, get momentum to go to other platforms and stuff. It's cute. It's pretty fun. Curse of the Gods.
Commando.
You said what?
So it's Bionic Commando.
No gun though, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You can't have it all. Although wasn't it weird when they made the second rearmed you could jump? I was like, well, why?
What's the use?
Exactly. Like, what is this? Like, you can jump? What are we doing here?
Yeah, that was the trailer for that. That was like the big splash. It was just like, now you can jump, and it might as well have just said, now we've ruined the game.
Yep.
And then after that, they're just like, all bets are off. Now you are black. And it was like,
wait,
what?
Oh man. So what else? Curse of the Gods. Like obviously, I guess isometric view action games, roguelikes. Hades is huge, but there's a lot of games like Hades before Hades came out, and of course, because of the success of Hades, a lot of games are going to come out that are going to try to do the similar kind of thing. So this game called Curse of the Gods, played it on PS5. It was a PS4 game, but it has this whole mechanic where like if you take on, you're going through these different dungeons, there's a bunch of creatures and bosses and stuff like a Hades type of game, but you can get corrupted. And it gives you an advantage to get corrupted. Like you can boost certain stats and certain skills if you're corrupted. But then if you tip the scale too much, it becomes a hindrance to your success. So you got to like balance out like how much of the corruption you're willing to take on. Like you might want to take it on like to defeat this boss, but then you might want to figure out a way to get rid of some of it so you can continue to make progress, just in the regular game. So I got to put a little more time into it, but seems pretty fun. What else? Explosionade DX is out on systems now. You all remember that from
oh yeah,
Mommy's Best
At one
Games?
point, I had the 7th highest score in the world on a specific difficulty level for the indie game on 360.
Yeah, it was a different time. It looks. I mean, I played on Switch. It looks much better. Like it's a better looking game.
Okay,
it's fun.
But it's basically the same game.
Yeah, it is. But the controls are kind of weird. Like jump is like A. No, jump is like B. I'm like, well, this is the Xbox. What are we doing here? So you can switch out. No, was I playing Xbox? No, I was playing on the Switch. So jump. It doesn't matter.
B on the Switch is probably a good button for jump.
It was A on the Switch, which is weird.
Okay.
So, but you can change all that stuff. So you don't have to keep it the way it is.
That's good. Yeah.
What else did I play? Play some Horned Knight on PS5. It's a PS4 game. It's a platformer. Nothing special really. It's not bad, not great, but it's kind of there. It's all right. Play some PHOGS on the Xbox One, where you're sort of that cat dog double-sided dog thing where you have the environmental puzzles where you have to stretch out to pull levers and you're trying to collect little bones. It's pretty fun. It's I think it's a game where you can share a controller, or you can have two different controllers to control the different sides of the creature. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. How about you, Tiny?
Honestly, it's been. I went back to Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm playing through the story mode of Grand Theft Auto 5 again.
So
who
have
are you
they
again? I'm sorry.
have they done the enhancements for that version yet?
They have not. I also only reminded myself. I saw an article. I looked it up the other day to see it probably runs better on Series X, and it does. But there are PS5 and Series versions coming out. I don't know if they'll be free or not. We'll see, because I because I wanted to play it on Series X, I might have rebought the game again. For, I don't know, the many times as Aaron owns Resident Evil 4.
I didn't buy it on Switch. I don't know why.
So, but like, I mean, the best part of the game is there are a series of heists you do, and you have to like pick out your team, and you have to like decide how you're gonna, like, if you're gonna go loud or you're gonna try to be steep. It's great. Like, I wish I could do the online ones because now they've introduced those, but there's a lot of other people around, and I don't want to deal with that.
Understood.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. It seems great in theory, but I just never.
I don't need like a plane coming out of the sky and just killing me, because that's what happens in Grand Theft Auto Online, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. But yeah, I started replaying it. Like, yeah, that game's still great. At one point, I got into a car and Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time came on, and I just enjoyed driving around, listening to that.
You know, Rick James wrote that song.
So, I'm just waiting for someone to be like, it's also about drugs.
Rick James wrote that song. I don't know what else I gotta say.
I mean, my girl would want to party all the time if she was high on cocaine.
I know.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
It
Like,
really is.
So, but I mean, that game still, I just got through my first heist in that game, and I enjoy playing it again. Otherwise, I also went back to Far Cry New Dawn, which is the spin-off,
same of all the other
sequel of Far Cry. Well, but this is the one that follows up after Far Cry 5. So Far Cry 5 ends with a nuke going off.
ooh.
I don't know if I just...
Far Cry 5 literally had the greatest Far Cry ending ever. Sorry, go ahead, because I played both of these. I have played both of these.
I was watching a video and someone was like, "Oh, it's 8 hours to play through New Dawn," and I'm like, "I could use an 8-hour game. Like, that's a good time." So I went back and I've been playing through that and, like, I don't know, randomly killing animals so I can make a wallet. And
it's a pretty big wallet.
So, so like I just got through diving into a missile silo, and like it's full of water. And this character kept talking about, like, oh, there's going to be a crocodile in there. And there ended up being a crocodile. And I have a lot of questions, like why one crocodile was living in this silo in the middle of, like, Nebraska.
Why Montana?
In Montana, thank you. But also, we caused the water to rise. So was it not sitting in water until we caused the water to rise? There's a lot of environmental storytelling I'm waiting for it to tell me. So yeah. So, but
So you haven't beaten it yet?
I mean, I beat it the first time, but I went back to it on Xbox.
Okay,
that's a game.
Can we discuss it real quick?
Yeah, we can discuss it.
Okay, cool. So, like I said, Far Cry 5. I've played every Far Cry since Far Cry 3. All the way through. And I do want to say, for the record, that Far Cry, the series, is up there for me with Saints Row as one of my favorite series of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry 5, with the preacher, like, I can't remember what his name is, but the way that game ended...
Whatever.
The father.
Yeah.
If you never played Far Cry 5, I urge you to do it. The way that game ended was just so mwah. So I ran when the Dawn one came out, and I saw that it had 2 black women in it as the lead villains. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that, and then I waited for it to go on sale. So when it was on sale for like $9, I bought it, and it's beautiful. It's vibrant. The colors pop, like the weapons. Yeah, whatever. You get the gun that shoots saws at people, and you can kill people.
Exactly.
For the rest
That's
of the
all.
game.
That's all you need. You just need the saw blade launcher.
The saw blade launcher and maybe a sniper rifle, and you're good. But it just felt so empty.
I can see that. I mean, so they released that game 12 months after they released Far Cry 5. So, like, that is a quick turnaround. And granted, they're using the same map, but it's supposed to be 20 years later, and it's like the environment is recovering from the nuclear explosion. So like it's kind of Far Cry, but like if Far Cry had colors in it. And like that's cool, and they are tying back to the cult that Jeremiah was leading that you were referencing. Because like in Far Cry 5, the structure is you kill all 3 of his siblings to get to him, essentially. Because they're all like lieutenant cult leaders, but they all have their own themes. Like one's like drug lady, and other guy's military dude, and I forgot what the third one was.
Crazy guy.
Just crazy guy. I enjoyed New Dawn, and I'm enjoying this playthrough again of it. I know there is a Splinter Cell Easter egg in here where like this is what kicked off the Splinter Cell Easter eggs, when like you'd start seeing like, oh, because there's a bunker where like all of Sam's equipment's in it somewhere, and I probably should just look it up, but I haven't yet. So it's a first-person shooter. You're wandering around, you climb up to the top of a peak, and oh look, hey, there's interesting things to do, and you're building a headquarters. You're bringing back resources to build a headquarters, like generic Far Cry stuff. But you are not an insufferable asshole like you were in Far Cry 3, so already better than just random rich kids on vacation. Just killing everyone. So I really like Far Cry 4, and I don't know, I'm probably going to make a mistake, and by mistake I will go buy it again. I own Far Cry 4 on the PS4, and I don't like that controller for first-person shooters. Yeah. So once I see like a used copy for Xbox, I will probably go and make that. Because the other thing is, and part of the reason that I was looking at Far Cry is Xbox just released their like, hey, we're doubling the frame rate on Xbox One games, and like this is the first round. And Far Cry 4 is in that list, but neither is the Far Cry 3 whatever upres that came out for Xbox One or Far Cry 5 / New Dawn yet. So
I think that Far Cry 4 might go down as having my favorite villain. Like I really like Boz from Far Cry 3. I do. And do you know the definition of insanity is an iconic line in gaming. But
Min in
oh my god,
in Far Cry 4, like he's just so insufferable, and he's walking around, and he's dressed kind of like a Bond villain, and at points he's like, I got you, I could kill you right now, but I'd like to see what you come up with. So he just releases you, and it's so weird.
And so I heard that Part 6, Far Cry 6, is supposed to be not a Monran. It's supposed to be where Voss was a kid.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, I didn't know that's what it was.
That's what I heard.
Maybe that's Voss. That oh my god.
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito is the lead villain, and he has a kid, and the kid is supposed to be Voss, as far as I've heard.
So we'll see. I mean, when he just throws that grenade into that crowd, you're like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, I guess we'll see. What that's sometime this year, I think. I don't know.
But the reason why I liked Far Cry 5 so much is because I'm not a nice person. I say that all the time. I really am. It's a mood. But Far Cry 5 was the first one that I could think of where the bad guy literally won.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the Final Fantasy 4 of like the guy was doing his stuff in the background, and like we did not stop him. So and then New Dawn is just the after years or whatever, where it's like, yep, and now it's 20 years later, and everyone's come out of their bunkers and whatnot,
and now let's mix.
Everything's
Fallout with
Mad
Fortnite, or Fallout with Far Cry. That's what it was.
Yep. So, but I mean, I've been playing both of those games. I'm continuing to play through Pokemon Heart Gold on my DS when I have time. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. All right. Well, Rashanii, it's definitely been a pleasure to have you back onto the show.
Right. I'm sure it'll be another 12 years before I'm invited back on again. I understand.
It will not be another 12 years. I can promise
We
you.
haven't. Well, this iteration of the show hasn't existed for 12 years yet.
So Mike's going for the technicality here. I'm also going to point out that we all hung out in December and played games for Extra Life. So like,
that was great.
It's not like we haven't talked to each other.
Yeah, no, talking to y'all is great, but talking to the masses is glorious.
So, any shout outs, plugs, anything you want to mention?
You know what? I do. And this is like really, I want to, first of all, say I love you so much to my wife. She's not going to hear this, so, but I'm super proud of her. She's going through nursing school. She's getting like as close to straight A's as you can get. And that's wonderful. The same way that Tiny would tell y'all at the end of the show to be sure to spay your cats and dogs, I'm going to tell you to be sure to take your kid to the cardiologist. Because my son, my heart, had open heart surgery a month and 3 days ago. And he's healing, he's healing just fine. But the thing is, we didn't know that he had a heart condition, a congenital heart condition, until he was 13. The congenital heart condition that he had, that he had, was a right congenital coronary artery anomaly, which it's a condition that only 0.002% of the population has. And they will tell you straight out that most folks don't find out about it until the autopsy.
Oof.
My son played. I don't know if he's going to do it again. If he doesn't, I don't care. But my son played basketball at a high level from the age of 4 until the age of 13. He shouldn't have been doing that. This condition is something that your right coronary artery isn't connected to your heart at all, which means one chamber of your heart isn't getting any oxygenated blood. So if you're out there exerting yourself playing sports, it's eventually going to give out, which is why they say that so many people die from heart failure and they don't know why. This is a big reason why. My son was lucky in that his left coronary artery enlarged itself and shunted some oxygenated blood to the right side of his heart. Most people's hearts don't do that. The surgeons were shocked to see that. Like, most people just literally die. If you, especially in this day and age with COVID, if you feel like your breathing has gotten shorter, or if it hurts to breathe, or if you literally taste blood when you breathe, if you breathe heavy when you go up and down the stairs, you might want to step past your doctor and go to a cardiologist, because we didn't know. We took Kid Awesome for a COVID test. Well, the first thing I did was told him to walk it off. I'm still not proud of that. But he's a basketball player, and he was running suicides, and he was like, my chest hurts. And I was like, fool, you got 3 more suicides. Get them done. The first thing we did after that was we told him to get in a bath with Epsom salt. We thought that would ease the chest pains. The second thing that we did was we took him for a COVID test because he still couldn't breathe. His stamina was cut in half, literally, like, immediately after that situation happened, and it never improved. So we thought, okay, it's a lung issue. That must be COVID. Let's take him for a COVID test. And it came back negative. And then we took him to a doctor. This is from August to December. He got his surgery on February 1st. He ran with this for 13 years. You're not supposed to do that. So if y'all have never been, I think the thing that I'm saying about this is a lot of people don't know that they need something until they need it. And a lot of us won't visit someplace until we actually need them, you know. But there's nothing wrong with going to visit a cardiologist. Even if you think you're completely healthy, there's no reason why you can't just go in there and be like, can I get an EKG? Can I get checked? Just to be safe. What are they going to say? No. Like, what, they're not going to send you away. And it's better to be safe than sorry. And it might save your life. Like I said, 0.002% of the population. The doctors, the surgeons that worked on him had never seen it before, had never done this surgery before in their entire lives. And these are like these are doctors who work at Stanford University. They had to call in like a pinch hitter. Did you know that there are traveling surgeons who are just like super surgeons who could just do like all the work, and they fly them in? Tiny, you know this because you work with the Children's Miracle Network.
I mean, yes, there are specialty surgeons that
we got one of those.
And yeah,
we never met him. He came in, walked into the surgery. We spoke with the other surgeon at the pre-op meeting. This other surgeon showed up, walked into the operating room, healed my son, and left. And we never met him. We just know there were two surgeons. Not everybody's going to get that opportunity.
Right.
Get yourself checked out. I don't care about my shows. I don't need to promote them. I don't need to promote it Consistently Good, which is available on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. The menus are everywhere. You can check them out whenever you want to. Consistently Good Catering, I don't care about that. I want your kids or you to live a fuller life than you're living right now. Because I don't want anybody else to. Even now, I think about what could have happened. And I think about that all the time. Like, even though my son is healing, I still think about there were 13 years where we just had his life in danger. And that's something I'm going to have to live with. That I put him in that danger. If you can get referred to a cardiologist, just go. If you're fine, you're fine. If you're not, I'll celebrate with you after the surgery. I'm supposed to say, what do you got, Mike?
How can one follow up that? But I will say I'm glad things for your son worked out in a fashion where now you know what the path is.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I'm sure you'll never be able to let go of the thought of what could have been, but never forget, you know, what is. And
hey, amen.
And thank God you found out what needs to be done to so that he's protected as best as possible.
And to lighten the mood a little bit. Sorry. Forgot about this. Had this sitting next to me on the desk, so I didn't forget to say this. Mott's fruit snacks. I'm looking at you. Why do you only put 10 fruit snacks into a pack? Why is that the rule? Why are 9 of them the same doggone flavor? Why do they all taste just alike? Why can't I get more reds? I'm coming for you, Mott's. I know who you are.
See, I would have thought they were all just applesauce flavor. Because I don't know any other Mott's.
They are
the Mott's. They're great fruit snacks, but they literally only give you 10, and most times they're orange.
Because
let's define what enough is.
Hold on, let me turn on this light, and then move my camera down so that
a never-ending.
Yeah, that was like 8 of them.
8 of them,
yeah,
and they're all the same color.
Well, no, they were, but
What? Aren't you going to trade it for a skateboard? Call yourself Spike?
the months.
Something like that? I don't know. There's a way out of this. I don't know.
These are all grape, Mots.
Yeah, that's a lot of grape. But I like
That's
the grape.
me and you fighting. I have a red, a yellow, and 8 grapes, Mott.
I mean, yeah, it's grapes, all right. I mean,
Grapes,
if you're stuck with a flavor, grape's not a bad way to go.
No, it's not.
Could be durian flavors. I mean,
I've had durian flavored. One of my
durian
clients,
candy. So, yeah.
one of my clients brought me some durian wafers, and we opened it in an enclosed space. Not a good idea.
No, that is not recommended.
Yeah.
So huddle around, folks. I'm gonna rip open.
We close the airlock behind us, and then open.
Welcome to the experience. Sorry,
The
Mike,
waivers
go
have been
ahead.
signed, so it's no turning back.
No worries. Of course, briefly, I'll say, as I always do, anyone who is eligible, I encourage them to donate blood, and anyone who has pets to please have them spayed or neutered.
All right, I was gonna say, thank you, Rashanii, once again for hanging out with us. Good talking to you. Good catching up. I'm very thankful that you were able to get your son what he needed, and you're able to share with other people about ways they can avoid having any of that any of that happen and catch things earlier. And it's good to share that kind of stuff, because as a person who keeps many things to myself, I'm in awe of those who are much more transparent about things and are more willing to share, and I appreciate that.
I used to be no, I didn't. But when I thought about being that way, like, I'm not going to get hurt again, I'm going to box myself up, I started thinking about the fact that literally somebody's testimony was able to take me out of the darkest spot in my life. And we all know him. It was Michael Corbin, my homeboy Scar. I will love him forever. His transparency brought me in from one of the darkest days of my life. And at that point in time, I decided that if I could make myself be that transparent, I might be able to save somebody too. And that's not being facetious. That's not looking for pats on the back. That's not anything. That's just, I never want somebody to feel the way I felt. And if I have a way to get somebody to stop feeling the way that I felt, or make them avoid feeling the way that I felt, why would I keep that to myself? So being transparent is like lifting weights or doing push-ups. When you first start doing push-ups, you can do 5 and then you collapse. But after like a week straight of doing push-ups, your body's going to hurt. But then 2 weeks later, you might be able to do like 30 push-ups without stopping. And then you're able to do 100. It's the same thing with opening up and just talking to folks and telling them what's really happening. It gets easier as you do it. And you see the results because people need it. Because people don't want to open up. So, Aaron, I love you. Always have. You're a wonderful, wonderful person, father, man, husband, podcaster, board game player. But I worry about you because you keep things bottled up. Because if you keep things bottled up from us, there's a good chance you're keeping things bottled up from your wife, who's likely your primary support system. And if you're keeping things bottled up from her, then it's a good chance that they're eating you up inside. And I don't want you to get ate up inside. We're too old for that. Like you and I and Tiny and Mike and even Rob, who's out there somewhere. We are all in our 30s, 40s, somewhere in that age range, where having something bottled up inside of you will manifest in other ways that will affect your health. My dad kept things bottled up inside of him until he dropped from an ulcer and had to have emergency surgery. It ate its way through his body. I don't want none of my friends to do that, ever. So you have my number. I have your number. What's going to happen until I start forgetting is that every so often I'm going to call you up and be like, yo, and then I'm just gonna listen because I can't let you bottle stuff up. I can't. I'm gonna make you do push-ups.
I appreciate you, Rashanii.
I appreciate you too, brother. Oh, and sorry, Mike. I always get you and Tiny mixed up on who tells me to spay and neuter my dogs, but I spayed my dog.
That's all right, and I'm glad to hear that as well.
Me too, because I don't want any more.
Well, that is a huge part of it, of course, but also there's health benefits for the animals when you do that too. Generally, spayed and neutered dogs and cats live longer and have less health problems. Huh. So it's a twofold.
I've
kind
heard
of a
that
thing.
many times. I just always wonder, like, before people did this regularly, what was the lifespan of a dog?
People and animals' lifespan was like in a toilet before medicine saved everybody's.
That's exactly. You're right. Like,
I can say that my life is much better since I got neutered. That's a thing.
Hey, I can relate to that.
Being weapons free is the way to be. Like,
well, there's
I've been promoting that for years. Like, if you're done, just be really done. Don't worry about it anymore.
Best birthday gift I ever got myself.
All worthwhile comments, but there is a distinct difference between the good kind and the bad kind of castration versus. Anyway,
I was like, wait, yeah, what?
Sorry,
Toddy. How about you?
You should support Extra Life, and I don't know if I really want to talk about any extra-life.org/team/GameEnthus, or you can go to GameEnthus.com/extra-life.
And hopefully for next year's Extra Life, which I will be a part of, hopefully at that point in time I'll have my Megacade, and then we can really have a party.
Well, that's what I looked at the video through, and they're playing. Oh God. It's the Konami game.
Running Gun.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, man, I like
70,000 games on it. So what I was planning on doing, I was supposed to have it this year, but then I got a refund so then we could pay bills while Nisha went through nursing school. But what I was hoping on doing was, if you donated a certain amount of money, I would play whatever game you wanted. 70,000 games. I'm pretty sure that the game you want me to play is going to be.
It's going to be there.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a great idea. So
I have them sometimes.
But yeah, I think that's it.
All right, folks, for listening or watching. Thank you. We'll be back.